All right, good morning and welcome in here on this Monday morning as we are starting off the week exactly how you'd anticipate here at Tingle & Co. We appreciate everybody getting here, starting their morning with us as Wyatt and myself look to turn it around. Lloyd goes out of town, and apparently that is the thing that keeps this ship together. But good morning and welcome in here as we are live from our Southern Regional Medical Center studios. Here's the logo right here on the koozie of the water bottle. Good morning. Shout out to SRMC as they take great care of us. They'll take great care of you. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Shreveport are the three locations here in the great state of Louisiana. It's your choice where you go for your medical care. Choose Southern Regional Medical Center. And then, of course, they house Tingle & Co. brought to you by FanDuel. You see FanDuel right there. Right here, that FanDuel logo spinning every time we're live. We appreciate FanDuel for making it possible to bring you Tingle & Co. every single day. Make sure you go download the app, head over to the website, and get ready for college football, which does happen to begin this week. College football right around the corner. Wyatt Vaughn, good morning, sir. How are you? Wait, let me make sure I know which microphone's yours first. How are you?
Good morning, boys.
There we go. I got
Doing
you.
well. Had an interesting little weekend. I've had a little phone mini game renaissance. Got really into Plants vs. Zombies yesterday.
Plants vs. Zombies.
I don't know why that happened, but in between bouts of, trolling for message board news about LSU, just Plants vs. Zombies it up all day yesterday.
There you go. Well, it's good to hear. Good to hear. Obviously, that means you are ready to get back to some football. If you are getting into the Plants vs. Zombies or Subway Surfers maybe around the corner, you just need that college football to start.
Well, the problem is the video game is getting a little tedious now. I'm actually too good at the game.
Okay.
Because
you've broken EA college football.
It's difficult. Like, it's not as fun to play because every game I play, I've played so many games on Heisman. I've got my playbook down. I know the plays that work. I know the ins and outs of the defenses. And my rosters, I just recruit so well. Every game I'm winning by 40, 50 points. And It's just not as fun anymore. So I have to find something else to challenge me. You know what I mean?
Well, it's almost that time for us to start playing the LSU schedule again because the LSU schedule is about to begin.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
But good morning. We appreciate everybody starting their morning with us. Lloyd is, of course, on his way back from his much-needed vacation to get ready for football season. Wyatt got caught in a little traffic this morning. Everything's kind of started to fall apart a little bit this morning. Chrissy's car did not start, so that's why I'm here, and Chrissy's not. The week we need Chrissy, we needed 2 days out of old Chrissy. We need a Friday and Monday to produce. Can't make Monday happen. We appreciate his work on Friday. He'll probably show up at some point. Wyatt gets caught in a little bit of traffic, even though you were prepared, correct?
Oh, my gosh. So normally I get up around 6:20 to get here from New Orleans. I knew today was like the big back-to-school day here in Baton Rouge. I decided, you know what? I'm going to be proactive. I'm not going to be late today. I'm going to set my alarm 5:55.
Yeah.
I want to be out the door 6:30. Still don't get here until 8:10. It takes me an hour and a fucking half because of all this traffic. People get in wrecks every day. No one knows how to drive, and we can't move the cars out of the damn road. There was a dead pig on the side of the road.
A dead pig?
I swear to, there was some dead animal on the side of the road. I don't understand. Just move everything out the side of the road. It makes me fucking so aggravated, man.
Fair enough.
Unbelievable.
But it was quite the weekend as well. We will, of course, dive into everything that transpired over the weekend. LSU had a scrimmage, and then, of course, further announced to the world that they are the villains of college athletics. I have not seen a breakdown, I guess you could call, by the college sports fan base, college football fan base, really just athletics in general, because it's not just LSU football. LSU basketball is also being grouped into this, of course. Kind of crumble the way they have over the weekend. LSU, of course, finally makes some moves in accordance with these new rulings, these TROs, and everything's transpiring with the 5-for-5 rule. And with that has led to, of course, college football fans not being too happy with the addition of Daquan Wright and, of course, Junior
Tuihalamaka.
Come on, I figured you were going to be prepared with
Absolutely.
it. Very, very good. Tuihalamaka from Notre Dame as well. But we're 12 days away from football, and LSU's making additions to the roster. What is today's day number 12 countdown have in store?
12 days till LSU football, of course. We got a little Marcus Randall, a little Jarrett Lee, some quarterback action. And then, ironically, we have some Malachi Thomas as well, who is this year's number 12. And then the play of the day had a couple good options today, but I felt like I couldn't pass up the Bluegrass Miracle. Number 12, Marcus Randall throws it all the way down the field to Jack Hunt.
Yes.
Also known as Devery Henderson, number 9.
They look too much alike to not get that
wrong. They're basically identical twins. I don't know how you fucking decipher which one's which. But probably maybe one of the most iconic in LSU, maybe the most iconic in LSU football history. I'm not sure what else I would put ahead of this. I know there were plays that had higher stakes than this because this wasn't a season where LSU won a national championship. But just as far as play recognition, I would say this probably takes the cake as number 1. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no. I mean, this is one of the wildest plays. I mean, you in some of the pictures you can see the Kentucky fans looking at him while he's entering the end zone. They're in the end zone with him.
Yes.
Some even on the goalposts. Like, just unbelievable, as iconic as it gets. So a great, great play for day number 12. 12 days away, White Vaughn. Inside 2 weeks.
We're getting there.
I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, the way it's flown by like this, if today is a sign, we're going to start itching even more for it, and it might start slowing down, like feel like it's taking longer to get there.
I think this week up until maybe Friday or Saturday will take a long time. I think once we get to Saturday, where we get some week 0 games, a little TCU, North Carolina, Hawaii, Stanford, I think Saturday and Sunday will kind of fly by. And then I think by the time we get to Monday of next week, it is going to
we'll be foaming
slow
at the mouth
to a halt until 6:30 on Saturday. And the way I always look at it, it's like, when it gets to 100 days from LSU football to 0 days is like one time frame. That takes a while, obviously. Yeah. And then the Saturday that LSU plays is a whole nother timeline in itself.
That's another 100 days.
That's another 100 days. Because from the moment you wake up, it takes absolutely forever to get to LSU kicking it off. Normally it's a night game. And it was even worse the past couple of years when they would play on a Sunday, which I honestly liked because you were able to watch all of Saturday and then LSU would have the focus. But when you got to that Saturday and you knew LSU wasn't playing for another 24 hours, took absolutely forever. But we're getting there.
12 days away. Soon. Cannot wait to watch some LSU football as we are 12 days away. And, of course, huge news over the weekend. Excuse me. In addition to LSU scrimmaging and playing some football, they make a couple of moves. The first one with edge rusher from Notre Dame, Junior Tui Halamaka, who was added to the roster. Of course, maybe not the number 44 edge rusher that LSU fans were expecting to hear about, as Jack Pyburn was the main focus at that position. But you see the addition they make in a great, I can't emphasize it enough, a great depth piece to add into that room that's played a whole lot of football from the last 2 seasons in 24 and 25, 45 tackles, 9 TFLs, 4 sacks. He's not anything crazy. He's not going to be the super high ceiling guy, but what he does, he brings experience. He has improved over time at Notre Dame. He played extremely well in the playoffs whenever they made their run to the national championship game against Ohio State, and is a huge addition to that room and checks a box. I mean, you wanted experience. Blake Baker talked about liking the depth. You had, of course, your top 2 guys and really only one proven guy in that room in Prince Umanmiele, and you now add, I'm going to call him JT just to save us all. You add JT into that room, a great addition. Wyatt, what did you think when you saw the announcement over the weekend?
Yeah, very excited. As you astutely pointed out, not the number 44 I think everyone was expecting, but then you go and look at the tape, and I was looking at some PFF grades. He is actually, I think, a pretty similar player stylistically to Jack Pyburn. I think his biggest strength is his run defense, similar to a Jack Pyburn. He's not going to blow anybody away with his pass rush skills, but he has some. As you said, he was very good in Notre Dame's playoff run a couple years ago, was very good in that Georgia game when Notre Dame's defensive line was banged up with injuries in the Sugar Bowl, if anybody remembers that. And then also played pretty well against Miami last season in the first game of the season against a first-round tackle, Francis Maui-Noah. So he has experience playing in big-time games against big-time offensive tackles like he's going to have to do here at LSU. So I absolutely love the pickup here. It shores up a spot where you did have some depth concerns. Like you said, is this a game changer? Does this make you the number one team in the country? No, but this is a spot where you needed somebody to step in and be able to give you consistent snaps. I think this is exactly what this is. And look, if we're going to be completely honest, I don't think anyone knows how this situation is going to continue to play out. I wouldn't put it past LSU if they were able to go out and get Jack Pyburn too. I mean, no one knows what's going to happen going forward.
No, I mean, if I was to guess, I don't think they're done. I think Daquan Wright was probably at the top of their list.
Yeah.
You saw JT in the addition. They wanted to bring Junior in. That's a position of need, something they were interested in making an addition. I don't think they're done because I don't think the Jack Pyburn thing was – I mean, I do believe that was the main focus. There's a reason his name was the one that everyone was focused on, and he will find the rosters kind of shake out this weekend on the 30th. Correct?
Is when 30th or the 31st
is the cut date?
The cut date, yeah.
And so we'll find out the 30th to 31st what that looks like. You see, the second edition over the weekend is another one of those graphics. Right? We talk a lot about the R.J. Luis graphic. Here's another one, as you can see here. Daquan Wright headed to LSU, Virginia Tech, Ole Miss, Cleveland Browns, and now the Tigers. Look, we talked about Daquan Wright a bunch going into the LSU Ole Miss game last season, and then, of course, again last week. And I think LSU was on the same page you and I were, Wyatt, when you kind of posed the question, I think, or maybe Lloyd did, of like which one, how would you kind of rank them going into just the names, the Harris, the Pyburn, the Wright, who would you rank at the top? And we both agreed on Daquan Wright because of what we witnessed, the way they used him last season, what he would mean to this offense. And I think you kind of wake up this morning after this edition, and we're going to dive into all the discussion around it, but I want to focus on the football first because from a football standpoint, this is a huge ad. Like, we talked ad nauseum last season about Daquan Wright being a part of that Ole Miss offense. He was the number one guy we were interested in, and we looked at it last week, and I think LSU was in the same boat. Like, I think Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss were in the same boat, where that was one of maybe the top guy on their list of, we want to go get him because we know what he means to what we're going to do. And you look at that tight end room, and I think you wake up this morning, it's one of the best in the country. When you have a Trey Green, you have a Daquan Wright, and then you look at Malachi Thomas, some of those other guys behind them that are put in a position where they don't have to do too much. And it's not that those guys can't do it, right? But you add a guy in Daquan Wright who you know can, right? You're not betting on potential because he had 50-plus catches, 600-plus yards, 5-plus touchdowns, and balled out as a guy that was versatile in that offense. You talked a good bit about it a couple weeks back of Trey Green and how is he going to play in this offense, because every time we bring it up, we talk about him being split out wide. Right. I talk about watching him at Zachary playing wide receiver. He wasn't a tight end in high school. He is a pass catcher. Even though on your roster sheet, if you pull it up, you look through and you stop at number 7. But right now, number 14, it says tight end Trey Green. He's not a tight end. He is a pass catcher. Like, that's who he is. That's why LSU has him in a gold non-contact jersey all through fall and spring. So for all those national media pundits that are freaking out, why is Trey in a gold not? It's been like that. And Lane's talked about it a bunch because he's that valuable. He's a pass catcher. And so now you look at Daquan Wright, and you talked about it with Trey you were like, but if you want him to be kind of as effective as he can be, you want him to line up at the end of the line of scrimmage. You want him to be attached so that he can kind of be deceptive and not split out wide. Something's going to happen, because last season, and granted to him, he still made the plays. Mm-hmm. You knew when Trey was split out wide, hey, all eyes on 14, something's going that way. And even when Texas A&M brought that second guy over there, he still made the play. But you talked about how effective he could be in this offense if he was attached. Now with the addition of Daquan Wright, that kind of checks that box. You have a versatile receiver who's also a big body, can block. You still have Malachi Thomas who can get in and do similar things. What was your reaction, and how much better does this make LSU with the addition of Daquan Wright?
Well, first of all, there has been a reaction by certain people who clearly just don't follow LSU that are saying, oh, this must upset Trades Green. I'll be the first to tell you, this does not upset Trades Green. Lane Kiffin and company, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, I mean, there's no way this isn't a conversation that's had.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Right.
They would not have done this if they had not okayed it with Trades Green. Trades Green has been, as you mentioned, in a gold non-contact jersey all of spring or all of fall camp just to protect him because they know how valuable he is. They know their priority in this offense lies with Trades Green. This isn't a move that hurts Trades Green or takes away targets from Trades Green. To me, you ask me how much better this makes LSU's offense, this frees up Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss, two of the best offensive minds in all of college football, to be more free and more creative with their best offensive weapon. So when you ask me how much better this offense get, I think it could get exponentially better because you don't have to have Trades Green in line in order for your offense to be at its fullest potential. You can have Daquan right there. He can go and block a linebacker. He can go out on routes. He's going to be just as much of a mismatch, maybe a little bit less so, than Trades Green on these linebackers and on these safeties. And now you can happily split Trades Green out wide. And also, you're going to run a lot of 12 personnel, which NFL scouts and NFL coaches all the time talk about how much of a mismatch it is and how difficult it is to defend that when you have two inline tight ends that can both block and are pass-catching threats. Now, are they both the best blockers in the world? No, not necessarily, but they're bigger guys. All we need you to do is get a hat on a hat, and the main priority is still going to be throwing them the football. So to be able to go out and get a guy like Daquan Wright, to me, is such a massive addition to this team, especially because now you can use Trades Green exactly how you want to, especially we've talked about the wide receiver room where there really hasn't been anybody who has exploded onto the scene and become that number one. Now you don't necessarily, you can take a wide receiver off of the field sometimes and have Trades Green right there, and you probably feel a little bit better about yourself there. So this is an absolutely massive move. I love it so much. I mean, I've been talking about Daquan Wright for months, even before we even thought this could be a possibility.
Right.
I've been talking about Daquan Wright, so there's nobody more excited than me.
No, I completely agree with you. I think this is a massive move, and from the standpoint of Trades and Daquan, because someone also texted me yesterday and was like, what do you think Daquan Wright's thinking? He's just going to show up and watch Trades Green catch passes. And I was like, do you know who LSU's head coach is? Or the people that are like, there's only one football to go around, that's too many mouths to feed. Like, do you understand who's calling plays and who's running this offense? It's Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss. Like, I have zero concern about them making it work offensively with this many playmakers, right? You have guys like Trades Green, like Daquan Wright, Malachi Thomas. Look at the wide receiver room that they have as well. And in addition to that, one of the things that stood out to me as this move was made, last week we talked about it. We listened to Lane Kiffin talk in his press conference. What was the one thing he repeated twice on Thursday? It was he talked about Sam Leavitt, the plays he makes, the adult throws, and then he said 2 times in that presser, we need the guys around him to make plays. They just went and made an addition of another playmaker, a guy that makes plays, a guy that put LSU to bed last year. I mean, Daquan Wright was the guy that Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss drew it up, and he was wide open, like nobody near him to seal that game on 4th down. And now you add him to this offense with a Sam Leavitt, with these running backs that we're going to talk about when we get to the scrimmage. And then, of course, Trades Green, who is in that gold non-contact jersey because he's that important. Like Wyatt said, there's no concern about him, Trades, and Daquan being in the same offense.
Right.
Or Trades feeling some type of way. Trades knows how important he is. He was taking SEC Media Days. He's in that gold non-contact jersey. He's going to be number 7, right? All of those things because he's that important to this offense. He's that important to LSU's success. And once again, Lane Kiffin pulling the strings at the right time, making the right moves, and making this offense that much better. You add another playmaker. You add a guy that's versatile enough to make your offense look even better. Like, not just is he going to be a playmaker, he's going to be and make things happen that allow this offense to move like a machine. You can have him attached so he can run block. And it's not, okay, let's shift Trades back in and see what happens, or maybe putting the pressure on a younger guy, right? A Malachi Thomas having to step in, and I have no doubt he'd be able to do it. But it's a little bit of a prove it, right? And Daquan Wright knows this system. And that's the thing, you have no doubt of him adjusting and getting used to this, because he just played, and not just played, excelled in this system. Maybe he needs to get on the same page as Sam, needs to get used to a couple of things, a little bit of a refresher. Other than that, I have zero doubt in him adjusting to this offense. And it's a huge addition over the weekend. Both of these guys, both Junior and Daquan, huge additions and make LSU that much better.
Yeah, if you have any questions about Daquan Wright, go ahead and throw on the Ole Miss Miami tape. Daquan Wright almost single-handedly won Ole Miss that football game. He was unguardable in that game. Miami, one of the best defenses in the country, great defensive coordinator, Corey Heatherman, couldn't stop Daquan Wright. And so when I look at it, the first thing I thought when you see it come through the news line yesterday is they brought Daquan Wright in so that he could be on the field at the same time as Trades Green.
100%.
And that was the thing we had talked about with Trades Green for so long, is you want him to be able to do all the things an inline tight end can do, but you also want to be able to split him out wide. You don't want to have to sit him at one specific position for the entire season or an entire game, because you lose some of his value by that, because he is so versatile. He can line up as your X receiver on the boundary. He can sit in the slot. He can be your inline tight end. And the problem was you weren't super confident in Malachi Thomas and the rest of the guys in that room, so you were feeling like you were going to have to use him as your inline tight end. The fact that you now have Daquan right there, you can't look at Trades Green as a tight end. You look at Trades Green as a weapon. Lane Kiffin is going to put him in as many different spots to confuse the defense, to make it hard for the defense, to make them have to put guys in conflict in order to cover him. And they're going to do everything that they can to get him the ball as many times as possible. And Daquan Wright being added to this offense only helps, not hurts that.
And I'm looking at some of these numbers from Miami, Ole Miss. Of course, the game Ole Miss loses in the semifinals last year in the playoff. And Daquan Wright, 3 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. That's an average of 21.3 yards per catch. And what that shows me is that they scheme it up, they put him in a position to be successful, and he is a player. In addition to that, just a couple other names that stood out to me. TJ Daugherty in that football game had 11 tackles and a sack. Prince Wuman Mielen had 4 tackles and a sack. So I think LSU did pretty good in the additions from that roster last year, even though some people thought, the Ole Miss players aren't going to want to play for Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I think they're doing just fine.
3 for 64 doesn't sound absurd on paper. And honestly, his entire stats from last year don't sound absurd on paper. What is it? It's like 40, 50-something catches for 640 yards and a couple touchdowns. The thing is, every time Daquan Wright touches the ball, it is a big play. You go back and look at that LSU game. He had, obviously, the game-winning play on a 4th and 3 right at the end. He had a massive 4th down conversion right before halftime that allowed Ole Miss to score a touchdown and go into halftime up 2 touchdowns. Against Miami, he scored what would have been a game-winning touchdown had Ole Miss not allowed Miami to go down and score. He had a big 3rd down conversion earlier in that game. So, yeah, the numbers don't jump off the page as like, oh, this guy's an absolute game changer, but every play that he makes is a massive play, and I'm just so excited to have him and see him in this offense.
No, I completely agree. And to talk about those numbers, if he his exact numbers from last season with Ole Miss, if he was on LSU's roster and had those same numbers, he would have been 3rd on your team in receptions. He would have led the team in receiving yards. And let's see if I can get these numbers pulled back up. And then touchdowns, he had 5 compared to LSU, who had, their leader had 7. So you'd have been 2nd on your team in touchdowns, 1st in yards, and 3rd in receptions. Whoa. So you see just how good he was in that Lane Kiffin system, how good that system is, if you need a reminder, compared to what you lived through last year. Like, let's just remember what we sat through as LSU fans offensively a year ago, you already thought and knew, like you already knew. We had already told you if you didn't know. There was not going to be a bigger improvement in the nation than what LSU is going to do offensively compared to last season. It was going to be night and day, and now it's even better because you went and got better. And I think, like Wyatt said, and Shea Dixon says it a lot in recruiting, it's watch what they do, not what they say. And the coaching staff's doing the same thing. To your point, if they had as much confidence, they wouldn't be pressing to make some of these moves. What they're telling you is they really do believe they need some help in the edge rusher room. They really do think the offense could use a nice little piece of playmaker and something in that tight end room to make them better. That's what they think, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be making the moves. Right. And whatever moves they make moving forward are going to be because they believe that will make them that much better. And that brings me right into my second point, because a lot of people are feeling a lot of ways about this. And I want to preface it, and I want to start off with, I do understand. You write it down on a whiteboard, right? And it says LSU adds, or you just look at this graphic. You just look at the Daquan Wright commitment graphic, and it is an objectively crazy thing to look at. You see a Virginia Tech logo, an Ole Miss logo, and a Cleveland Browns logo to LSU. It's similar to when we look at the RJ Luis situation, and we look at that graphic, right? We talked about that a bunch. That's objectively wild. That's the world we're living in. And so I will preface it with that. I understand the people who are like, I think Brandon Hollingsworth said it in the chat, like it looks a little icky. Like I get it. Like I understand. I'm not disagreeing with that point. But like we said when we were sitting over here and we were talking about LSU basketball and the moves they made and the guys like Jeff Goodman getting upset about it. What was Lane Kiffin brought to LSU to do? Win. The job description, the job requirements are wins. You are based off of nothing else. Not you don't get jobs and you don't keep jobs based off how you make people feel. Because I remember a guy in Ed Orgeron that everybody loved universally. And he got fired. Because after winning a national championship, he won a combined 11 games over the next 2 years, and the program was in a bad spot. And the way you knew it was in a bad spot was because they couldn't win. They still recruited well. Like, it's not like Coach O fell off in recruiting. They put together really good classes. I mean, the class going after the national championship going into 2020 is one of the best classes in the country with Eli Ricks and Arik Gilbert and all these guys. They had Kayshawn Booty, these guys they had added. And then you looked at what they had going in next year. They did it again. And then going into before he got fired, the class he had already put together was a pretty dang good class. So recruiting was still good, but there was nothing happening on the field to make you believe you were in a good spot, because it ultimately comes down to winning. Nothing else. Nobody's feelings, nobody liking you. It comes down to wins. Everyone will love you if you win. You have to win. And Lane Kiffin, when he was hired, he was told, and this is an inside source, this is just you're here to win. Your job's to win. Will Wade was hired. He has to win. They are doing whatever is allowed to put their team in a position to win. LSU football, run by Lane Kiffin, is a program that is set and put in position to win. If you wake up in the morning and you're looking over your roster, you're like, man, it would be nice if we could add maybe a piece at tight end, right? If we could just have another guy there. And then you do that because that makes you better. That puts you in a better position to win. So I understand people being upset because it looks kind of, You know what looks worse than this? 7-5. Right? Like, you can feel however you want to feel about this. You'll feel a whole lot worse when you see Daquan Wright commit somewhere else and then he's beating up on you in the season. Because guess what? If LSU doesn't get him, someone else does. Same with Junior. Same with Jack Pyburn. If LSU doesn't go get these guys, they're going to end up somewhere because everyone's playing this game. And just wait as the week unfolds. A lot of people were outspoken over the weekend because it's easy to blame Lane Kiffin and LSU. Right. It's easy to point the finger and go, bad guy, bad guy, bad guy. Terrible for the sport, right? It's easy to do that when it's LSU. What about when it's your program? Because guess what? This week, as these cases continue to roll on, more teams are going to do this. These players are going to end up somewhere. Because these coaches' jobs, these programs' goals are to win. Feel however you want to feel. We can talk about this a whole lot on August 24th. In 12 days, you're not talking about what's right or wrong. You're talking about what the score is in the third quarter when Clemson comes to the real Death Valley. And then 14 days later, when you're in Oxford and you're playing LSU, you're playing Ole Miss, and LSU's on the road, you're not talking about, man, what about these moves LSU's making? No, you're talking about the plays on the field because it comes down to wins. Feel how you want to feel. I'm not telling you that your feelings are wrong, but you got to suck it up and understand it's the world you live in. And Lane Kiffin's job at LSU, if you want to hate him, fine. He doesn't care. I don't care. Do you care?
I don't care.
Wyatt doesn't care. Nobody cares because right now your feelings don't matter. Right. What matters are wins. What matters are playoff berths. What matters is, do you have a ring? Are you lifting up a trophy at the end of the season? That's what the goal is. There is no moral high ground playoff. Because I tell you what, Clemson would have won it every single year. There's a reason why parts of their fan base are upset, because they won't wake up and join the world. We were pissed off at Brian Kelly just a couple years back because it was, man, I just want to build my program the right way through recruiting. And then it was, let's spend $20 million in the portal because, we're kind of waking up trying to figure it out, and you couldn't do it. You're now in a position where you have a head coach who understands the game because he's creating it. He understands how to operate because he is maneuvering in it better than anyone else. From an LSU standpoint, I don't know how you are not excited about what you have. I get the feelings about the way it looks. But you take all that out of account. As an LSU fan, your main goal, what you want to do every Saturday, is head to Death Valley or sit in the Bally's Baton Rouge Casino Hotel Sportsbook and sit and watch on the biggest TV screens in the city. LSU win. Nothing else. You want to watch LSU win. Correct? If in the chat, if you disagree with me, let me know. Do you want to watch LSU win? Wyatt?
No, you're absolutely right. And look, you hit on it there with Brian Kelly. You made the reference to Ed Ogeron. I was going to talk about BK, and look, far be it for me to defend Brian Kelly, but Brian Kelly sat here and he told the country that LSU's not going to buy football players. Now, was that as much of a morality thing as much as they just didn't have money to buy players? Probably the latter. But either way, LSU fans all over said, you know what? Credit to Brian Kelly. That's really, really moral of him for not bending the knee to this bad, NIL system that we have going on. And guess what? In that season, you went out and you lost to USC in the season opener. And I didn't see a single LSU fan that said, well, you know what? It's okay because we don't buy players. No, people were pissed. People were pissed at Brian Kelly because the team wasn't good enough. And the same thing happened when you went to College Station and lost to Texas A&M, and then you went to the Swamp and lost to Florida, and you got blown out in your own stadium by Alabama. No one sat there and said, well, no, it's okay because guess what? We have the moral high ground. We don't buy players over here. And guess what? Brian Kelly ended up getting fired. So what does that morality actually get you? Like, I'm truly not asking people to get on board with NFL players coming back to college football. I'm not even on board with it. I don't think anyone in their right mind actually wants to see NFL players come back to college football. All I'm asking is that you direct your hate at the right organization and the right party. It's not Lane Kiffin and LSU's fault that there are no rules and they're taking advantage of it. This shit right now, this is the Hunger Games. This is life or death. That's what college football is right now. When you step off that platform and that horn goes, you don't get bonus points for fighting with one hand tied behind your back. You know what I mean? No one's going to say, well, LSU finished 8-4, but hey, at least they were very moral about the eligibility rules in college
They care
football.
about our feelings.
That's what I'm saying. You don't get to hang a banner or put something up on the facade at Tiger Stadium that says 2026 morality champions. That's not how that works. Because guess what? Like you said, like we've all been saying, if you don't do it, Alabama's going to do it. Texas is going to do it. Ole Miss will do it. Texas A&M will do it.
Indiana will do it.
Indiana, every single team on your schedule will do it. And you're not going to sit there when you're losing to those teams and say, well, you know what? I'm glad the way we did it because we have moral superiority over them. You're going to say, why the fuck is our football team so fucking trash? Get Lane Kiffin out of here.
Right.
So you cannot be mad at Lane Kiffin for doing everything that he can to build the best possible team. Don't be mad at LSU. I'm not super happy about NFL players coming back to college either. This is on the NCAA. They completely bungled this entire 5-for-5 operation. They dropped it either way too early or way too late, and they opened themselves up to all this litigation, and they deserve everything that they are getting right now because they completely botched this entire thing. All they had to do was drop this January 1st of last year and grandfather in last year's seniors so that they know. Do you think it's fair to Daquan Wright or Jack Pyburn or take LSU out of it completely? Let's say, I don't know, there's an offensive lineman from BYU who was all Big 12 last year. Do you think it's fair to him that he had to decide to go, not even decide.
There was no choice.
No decision. He had to go to the NFL draft last year, and then the NCAA purposely waited until after the draft, until after this player is in the NFL playing for an NFL team, and then they say, oh, hey, we're doing 5-for-5 now. You actually would have had an extra year of eligibility, but you missed it by 4 months.
Yep.
That's fucked. I
agree.
I'm against NFL players, pro players coming back to playing college sports. This is an independent situation where these players seriously got screwed over. And I do think these players should have the right to come back and exercise their last year of college football. And I'm not just saying that because these are LSU players. Every single one of them that exhausted their eligibility last year, and even going back to other sports like baseball, like Chris Stanfield. If Chris Stanfield was able to do this, and I think he probably will be able to, he's probably not coming back to LSU, unfortunately, because our outfield is loaded. I want him to be able to go and transfer to wherever he wants to go and have a really successful fifth year, senior year, I guess you would call it, you know? So don't blame LSU. Like you said yesterday, don't hate the player, hate the game. The NCAA botched this operation from the start, and they're getting everything that's coming.
And it's all about if you are in the position or you are smart or bright enough or willing to adapt to the situation. Because that was the other thing. It's adapt or die. That is that's the game. It's changing every year. Are you in the position to adapt? Because Brian Kelly wasn't. Brian Kelly wasn't in the position to adapt. He didn't want to adapt to the game. And he didn't. And guess what happened? He lacked belief from the people with the checkbooks, didn't have the same money, still wouldn't put together a pretty good roster, wasn't able to adapt to the game, and he got fired for it. Lane Kiffin has consistently adapted, and he's doing it again. The Raging Poon, $5 Super Chat, 5 claps. Ready. Let's not get it twisted. The NCAA is to blame. You are smooth-brained if you think Wright would have signed undrafted if 5-for-5 was already in play. No, 1,000%. He had no choice. He had to go play pro football because there was no option. The NCAA screwed it, as they always do. So point the finger there. It ain't Lane Kiffin. It's not LSU. It just so happens he is the guy that adapts and does what's necessary to win and just shows you how broken of a system it is. Don't hate the player, hate the game. LSU, Lane Kiffin are doing what they're supposed to do. Win. That's all it's about. It's about winning. And I understand the people that are upset about it, but you got to suck it up. It doesn't look good. I agree. It looks a little icky. Pro players, Daquan Wright, like I put out the video on our social media yesterday when I posted the LSU tight end trio. It was a Trey Green fall camp clip, Malachi Thomas fall camp clip. And then it was Daquan Wright catching a pass warming up for an NFL preseason game. Right? Like it is objectively wild to think about. But the NCAA screwed it up and has created a world where this can happen. And like Wyatt said and like I said, if you don't do it, someone else will. And then you're going to sit in the fourth quarter pissed off, gritting your teeth, clenching your fists because your team is losing to a team even though maybe you were on the moral high ground. And for all the Ole Miss fans that want to feel some type of way about this situation, Daquan had a fifth year. There was a year of eligibility there to work with. There was a court case a couple months back where there was no year of eligibility to work with. It was created. The starting quarterbacks playing under an injunction as an ineligible player. Mm-hmm. And so I tell you what, if LSU passes on this, it would suck to sit in Vaught Hemingway on September 19th, which I've been confident LSU wins regardless of the addition of Daquan Wright, Jack Pyburn, JT, whoever else they add. I've been confident LSU wins that game because they're mentally ready for it, and I don't think Ole Miss is. But say it was LSU's down in the fourth quarter. It would suck if you were sitting knowing you could have done something more to make your team better, because that's what Ole Miss did. They could have said, you know what? NCAA said he's ineligible. What's the backup? Deuce Knight? Ready to rock and roll, son? Ready to play? Because now you got to. But Ole Miss didn't do that because your job's to win. What puts Ole Miss in the best position to win? Trinidad Chambliss playing quarterback. Even though personally I think Trinidad should have just went to the league and got drafted in the first round and made however much money.
They put out that graphic the other day of him making $5 million and Ty Simpson's only making 4.2.
It's not that bad of a deal.
I can't hate on Trinidad if that's the correct numbers.
But Ole Miss is doing, like, look, I think it's wrong. Trinidad, and it's objective, and I will say it's also worse than what LSU is doing with Daquan Wright and JT and these guys. Like, they're giving guys an opportunity who have a fifth year of eligibility, or should, because the NCAA screwed it up. They're giving them the opportunity to use that fifth year they have. Ole Miss created a sixth year. Trinidad graduated high school with me. Me and Trinidad graduated in the same year. And Wyatt as well.
Me, yeah.
All of us graduated. 2020 grads. Come on. We all graduated that, like, and what? I graduated college 2 years ago. Trinidad. And so it's like you created this for this young man. But look, I can't get mad at you for it because if the rules allow that to happen, your job's to win. And Ole Miss, if Ole Miss didn't do it, I wouldn't be sitting going, you know what, Ole Miss, good for you. You guys are doing what's right for the sport. No, I'd be saying you're stupid. You're not doing everything in your ability to win. And that's the world you live in. You do what you need to do to win. That's what LSU's doing. They're putting this program in a position to win the most football games. And look, in addition to that, this also raises the pressure. Like, I don't want to run from that either. Mm-hmm. You make this team better, the expectations get higher. You might have been iffy about playoff or bust. You should maybe be putting a little more pressure now that this team is getting better. Because the more wounds you start to fix and Band-Aid you start to put on, and the better the roster gets. Because you could have looked and said, man, I want to believe in this team, but actually, I won't be upset if they go 9-3 and just miss the playoff because they're not that good at edge rusher because they lack depth there if one injury happens. Mm-hmm. That excuse isn't as built in anymore with Junior and potentially Pyburn, right? Like that excuse kind of dissipates. And so with that comes there's more pressure. There's more pressure. Like, don't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I get if some people still want to see a growth year. No, this year's about winning because that's what they're saying. And if you want this to not be this huge issue and something that people melt over, you have to go win. Because ultimately that is the solution to every problem. It is the miracle drug to every college sports sickness, is winning. And right now in Baton Rouge, LSU football fans are starving to win. Because since you won a national championship, right, 2019, you went 5-5, 6-7, there you go, Wyatt. 10-4, 10-3, okay. Crazy thing is that 10-3 team underachieved. 9-4, 7-6. You've averaged 7 wins a year since you won a natty. LSU is starving for it. Starving for wins to be relevant. And Lane Kiffin has brought that back. Mm-hmm. And the pressure that they were talking about at SEC Media Days about natty or bust, I still don't think it's natty or bust. But, man, it gets closer the better you get. Because guess what? Even though it's not natty or bust, like LSU doesn't have to make that. That's the expectation, and that's the goal. Like Lane Kiffin's goal isn't to come to LSU and you know, take a couple of steps in the right direction and build this thing the right way and lay down this foundation. No, it's to win, and it's to make a run at this thing. Because you want to tell him he's wrong for the move he made. That going to LSU wasn't the right choice. Should have stayed in Oxford. Watch. Sit back and watch this drive. Lane Kiffin came to LSU to win. And to win big. And you have to make the moves to make that possible. That's all he's doing.
And this goes back to the same conversation we've been having since Lane Kiffin got hired. Your stock is never going to be higher with LSU fans. So even though it is a little odd and a little bit new in college football to go this all out on your program in year one, this probably is the only year you have Blake Baker. This probably is the only year you have Charlie Weiss, Trades Green, Jordan Seaton. Like I said, your stock is never going to be higher with the LSU fan base. So go out.
And the boosters.
And the boosters, exactly. Go out and do everything you can to build the best possible team possible. And don't stop. You're not going to sit here and say, oh, Daquan Wright's a really good player, but you know what? I think we're good. I think we're okay. And that's the thing. We talked about this on Friday. The whole, wow, LSU must be so desperate. They spent $40 million on a roster, and it's still not enough. We're desperate to win. Like you said, we've averaged 7 wins a year since 2019, which was a fever dream. We're desperate to win, just like Nick Saban was, just like Steve Spurrier was, just like Bear Bryant was, just like name another great college football coach that added talent to their roster by any means necessary. Alabama was having guys pay their first year of tuition to gray shirt so they could play for Alabama, so that they could get as much talent on the roster as possible. Do not look to Lane Kiffin and LSU. Look to the NCAA. Look to the people who completely botched this operation from the start.
No, without a doubt. You're completely correct. And that's the thing. You can have your feelings about it all you want. The job's to win. 100%. That you have to capitalize on what's in front of you and make it happen. Because at some point, there will have to be guidelines and there will have to be rules. And I am all for it. I would love for there to be some sort of boundaries, whether it's the Protect College Sports Act or whatever. Put some boundaries on this bad boy and let's make it an even playing field.
Absolutely.
And those things. And look, I say even playing field. It's never going to be an even playing field. But put some rules on it so crazy things like this don't happen. And this might be the only season you get to capitalize on it. Look, we talked about with Will Wade and these international players he's added, right? This might be the only year you can add them because they might start making some rules about the ability to put these guys on the roster. So go ahead and get 7 of them and make it happen. Right? That's your job, is to win, and it's to win with what's in front of you, and there's no reason to take this moral high ground for the rule to get put in place next year, and then you were never able to capitalize on the opportunities that were in front of you. That's your job.
And the fact that all these opposing fan bases are so up in arms about this and are directing their hate at LSU tells me that they are scared. Because to me, if I'm looking at this from an unbiased lens, and let's say I'm an Ole Miss fan, and I see LSU making all these moves and doing all this, I welcome it. Because guess what? If I was truly not worried about LSU and felt confidently that we were going to walk in to Vaught Hemingway on September 19th and beat LSU, I would say, okay, we're going to beat you anyway. But now, just in case we do lose, I can make the excuse of you were cheating. You were using NFL players. The reason they're so up in arms against LSU and not the NCAA, who is the real villain here, is they know LSU's getting better. They know Lane Kiffin has kind of outsmarted everybody else around here who's trying to get these players, and Lane Kiffin is winning these battles. Lane Kiffin's got 2 great players already added to his roster 2 weeks before the games actually start. 2 players that are going to play big roles on this football team. And that's why they're so mad at LSU. They know Lane Kiffin's doing a great job right now, and they're scared. They know that if LSU gets going the way that LSU can get going, that is a national title contender year in and year out. With the talent in the state of Louisiana, the donor buy-in that has been so great this past year with Lane, the financial, plan that we've talked to Charles about, all of that with Lane at the helm, if LSU gets going, people are scared of LSU. No one's going to want to play LSU, and that's what they're worried about. And that's why they're directing it at LSU and at Lane Kiffin and not the NCAA.
I completely agree. I mean, you look at Indiana last season, right? That's going to be the first conversation, and they had an average age of around 23 years old.
Yep.
Right under 23 years old.
Older than the Packers.
That is an old football team for college.
Yeah.
And they had a 25-year-old. They had a 24-year-old. Their youngest starter was a 20-year-old. And look, I'm talking about the guys that played. That was the average age, was about 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Because I know when you throw in entire rosters, you can go, well, they got some 18-year-olds from high school recruiting. The guys that were on the field were 21 and over. But it was okay because it was little old Indiana that had never done this before, so it was a beautiful story. Like, wow, look at the Hoosiers, man. Make a movie about it. Not when it's LSU. You're the villain, and that's okay. Wyatt and myself dressed accordingly. We've got the all-black on because LSU's the villain. And I tell you what, there's not a better fan base. There's not a better head coach in football, basketball, women's basketball, baseball. There's not a better place to be the bad guy than right now at LSU. And that's fine. Because guess why you're the bad guy is exactly what Wyatt said. Because they're scared. You want to sit on Twitter and say, man, the SEC should really look at kicking LSU out and bringing in Tulane. Locked on Ole Miss. You're scared. If you're scared, say you're scared. Just say it. You don't have to hide it behind all those words of kick LSU out, please. They're doing things that are wrong. They're rogue. If you're scared, say you're scared. There's a great phrase that Billy Napier used to use, and it was scared money don't make money. And LSU ain't scared. Because scared of who? You should be scared of us. That's what Lane Kiffin and LSU are sitting there just like, come on, bring it. Whether it's the NCAA, whether it's the SEC, whether it's any one of those other 15 teams in the conference, bring it, run it, let's go. And that's fine with me. Because I'd rather have a head coach that does that than fake punches the table and becomes laughed at. LSU ain't getting laughed at anymore. That's over. It's done. It's dead. Be scared.
You finally got rid of the big bad man Nick Saban at Alabama, and then all of a sudden his special boy, his protege, comes along and takes the job at the school that Nick Saban himself just said was the easiest place he's ever recruited, which is crazy, by the way. He retired from Alabama, and he's gone on a full-on purple and gold LSU press tour since retiring from Alabama, which is great. Shout out Nick Saban. But you're seeing the guy that Nick Saban holds in such high regards take a job that Nick Saban himself is kind of admitting is better than Alabama. They're scared. They know what Lane Kiffin can build here. The foundation is here. The recruiting ground is here. The NIL buy-in is there to match the buy-in of the coaching staff now. You've got players. You've got the greatest environment in all of college sports when it's at its peak. No one wants LSU to be good because they know when LSU is good, that is a consistent national title contender that you have to face and you have to go into Death Valley and beat every single year. And I'll pose the question because I've been thinking about this since Lane Kiffin got hired. I've always thought LSU would be the villain for a while. And then once LSU started winning, you'd see it kind of spin back a little bit because I'll maintain I don't think there is a cooler program in college football when they're winning, right? You look at 2019, I mean, maybe the coolest team of all time, right? Everyone loved that team. Even 2011, right? You didn't even win a national championship. You're talking about a defense that had so much swag. So many people fell in love with that defense and that team. So I always kind of thought once Lane started winning here, people would start to buy in and people would not necessarily look at us as the villain anymore, but, oh, it's LSU, it's cool, it's new, it's fun. It's starting to get to a point where I'm thinking maybe LSU will just always be the villain with Lane Kiffin at the helm. Do you think that's the case? Like, do you think you're getting to a point where it's getting too far? You're too far gone to where no one's ever going to like you, no matter how cool you are?
Yeah, look, I think it's an interesting case because I do agree. Like, I don't think it'll ever turn this season. Like, I don't think LSU will ever be cool, admired, and lauded this season, regardless of wins.
Right.
Like, I think you are the bad guy. And I think you are for the foreseeable future. I think it really comes down to I don't know if you'll ever be loved while you're doing it. It'll become a revisionist history.
Yeah.
Let's remember, like, Nick Saban gets a lot of love and now, besides Ole Miss fans. Like, everyone loves Nick Saban, especially LSU fans now.
Yeah.
Everyone looks back at that era of Alabama with such a, besides LSU fans, with such a positive point of view. Let's remember where we were at in the middle of it. You hated Alabama. You hated Nick Saban for the way he was running that program. Nick Saban was a villain. Like, he wasn't, like, was he the GOAT? Yeah. And people had the respect for him. Nobody liked him.
Yeah.
Nobody liked Nick Saban in Alabama. And I'm not saying that's what LSU is. But in the moment, when you're making those things happen, you are the villain. Back in the 80s, they were the villain.
Yeah.
They were the bad guy. Now they get looked back on, and they're cool now, right? They're cool when you look back on it and you watch the 30 for 30 and all those things. Now they're cool when you're looking back on it 20 years later.
Yeah.
In the moment, you hate them. And I think that's going to be the case with LSU.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm still like, and that's where I'll continue to say I don't care. Like,
no,
ultimately,
I don't care either.
I have no emotions about if the national public is like, man, I love LSU. Like, you don't have to think we're cool. That's all right.
Of course.
I'm fine with winning, and not winning over your feelings or winning over your emotions. I'm just fine with just winning.
Absolutely.
And I think what LSU's done, and look, we will see how these things continue to play out, what the remainder of this week and into next week have in store. Because like I've said, it is objectively crazy that LSU plays football in 12 days, and we're talking about the new additions to the roster.
100%.
I'm not going to deny that. It's wild. Like a year ago, we were doing position group breakdowns for LSU Clemson at this point in the season. Like, I had my big old yellow legal pad, and I was writing down each player from Clemson's roster and LSU's roster at positions and talking about it because you knew the roster then. And now, a year later, we're sitting here, and we're talking about who LSU's adding to the roster. It's objectively wild. And we will see what continues to happen over these next 2 weeks, these next 12 days, as LSU gets ready for Clemson. And I don't think anyone, like, that's the crazy part, is you're just going to keep getting more excited about it. 12 days away. We'll see what happens, what more rulings come out. Of course, later today, you will hear about R.J. Luis and the ruling for his situation and how that's going to play out. His hearing is today, I think in the afternoon.
1:30 p.m. Is it open to the public? Can we just go?
I don't know how it works,
Oh, man.
but maybe I'd tell you who might have an idea.
That's true.
If we knock on the
That's
door and
true.
maybe ask. So you'll hear some. And look, if that plays out the way I anticipate it to, it's going to be the same exact thing on social media. Where yesterday it was LSU football and Lane Kiffin being the bad guys, and they're ruining the sport, and they're the worst, and they need to be kicked out the SEC, right? And today, it's going to be Will Wade's the bad guy. And that's all right. That's fine. You're the villain. Love it. Enjoy it. And we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how these rulings continue to play out. We'll see when more NFL preseason cuts happen, what that means for not only LSU, but let's remember the remainder of college football. More teams are going to look to make these moves. So we'll continue to pay attention to it. We'll continue to talk about it. We'll come back and we'll talk more about LSU football as they had a scrimmage on Saturday. Look, that's the craziest part in this whole thing. Like I said, it's objectively wild that we're sitting here discussing the additions to the roster and not the scrimmage that happened on Saturday. But we'll get to that here as we've rolled right into hour number 2. We will take a quick break and be back with more Tingle & Co. as I learn how to produce right after this. Yo, there he is. All right, welcome back here as we are live here on this Monday morning. We appreciate everybody getting in here and starting their morning with us. As you can see, I'm back where I prefer to sit, which is not in the producer's chair, as Chrissy finally showed up this morning. What happened this morning, Chrissy?
My car died. It was getting to that point yesterday.
You did let me know last night, so I was aware this morning.
My car stuttered, right? It was like, ugh, and I was like, okay, this isn't good. And like while I was going to the gym, I left the gym last night, and the car started even more. And I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna have to do some finagling tomorrow. And so I woke up this morning. It started, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to go to Advanced Auto Parts. Like, I just have to get this over with. I went to Advanced Auto Parts and
Just new battery?
New battery. I had to go to the hood too, so that was a new experience. And so yeah,
Well, glad
that was my morning.
Being from Mandeville, I bet that is a new experience. Yes.
Glad you can make it in this morning. We appreciate everybody starting their morning with us here at Tingle & Co. As like we said, a huge weekend for LSU football. We spent, of course, if you missed it, that first hour talking about the additions of Junior Wyatt. Take it away.
Tui Alamaka.
And then, of course, Daquan Wright being added to this roster.
Did
of course,
bring
Daquan,
back,
if he
Braden Fajoko's dad, do a little haka dance
that would
before
be
the
electric.
game. That would be
electric.
with Coach Lane, and maybe if Ed's back in time.
Well,
how
would be
electric
elite.
would that
do you
be?
want to lose to Alabama?
You're such a loser.
He just ruined your moment.
God.
Just ruined your moment.
Really, Wyatt?
And with Daquan Wright, he's got to clear waivers, correct?
He does have to clear waivers. I believe, I think Wilson Alexander put out a tweet that happens tomorrow, Tuesday at some point. And then if he does clear waivers, which I think everyone expects to happen, he would join the team pretty soon after that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's not really a firm timetable, but
Right.
pretty soon after that, to me, says maybe sometime later in this week, maybe first thing next week for game week for Clemson. But, yeah, should be looking good there.
Yeah, and like we said, it is not going to take long for him to get up to speed on this system that he not only played in but excelled in at Ole Miss under Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin. And so I have no hesitations in that. But LSU did have a scrimmage over the weekend as they went into Tiger Stadium on Saturday and had their second scrimmage of the fall camp circuit. And there were a couple reports coming out of it that are really worth our time talking about. Even though they did get kind of overpowered by the Daquan Wright and the JT additions, you can sit back and we'll talk some football here, a little less politics and legalities as LSU did have a scrimmage. Wyatt, from everything you were able to take in, hear, read, watch even, what were some of the things that stood out to you about Saturday's scrimmage?
The first thing and the absolute most important thing, no injuries. Everybody finished up the scrimmage absolutely healthy, so that bodes well, of course. So it seemed like the offense started off a little slow in the first two drives and then really turned it up. It seems like they went 3 and out the first two drives and then turned it up. Reminds me of another game that Lane Kiffin coached against Blake Baker last season in Oxford when the Ole Miss offense went 3 and out, and then the offense started getting going. But the run game overall seemed like it was okay, a little bit inconsistent. Now, Caden Durham, I would say, was probably the overall winner of the scrimmage. And that's great to hear because it seemed like he maybe had kind of been getting passed up by Harlem Berry and Dylan Jones and even Stacey Gage that we had talked about these last 2 weeks. But he had 2 massive runs late in the scrimmage. One went for a touchdown. Now maybe you can say, well, the defense was tired at the end of the scrimmage. They've been dealing with the tempo the entire time. It is what it is. Caden Durham had an opportunity, and he was able to make the most of it. I hope that the staff is able to give him more opportunities going forward now because that's how this should work. When you get an opportunity and you make the most of it, you should get more. And if you're a guy who's going to continue to make the most of those opportunities, you should touch the ball on Saturday. So going to quarterback, it seems like Levitt had another good day. Obviously, Lane talked about him making adult throws last week, which was great to hear. It seems like everyone that watches him play is supremely impressed with his athletic ability. Almost kind of like to a point where it's like a Joe Burrow thing where it's not the most athletic ever. They're just surprised. You just wouldn't expect it. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing from Sam Levitt. The defensive line is doing a good job of wreaking some havoc, but Sam Levitt is also doing a good job in turn being able to get out of the pocket, make some guys miss, and, make some big plays from outside the pocket. From the wide receiver standpoint, they had a great matchup with Pickett and Woodland on the outside. DJ Pickett and PJ Woodland are really good.
Yep.
Like, that's one of my main takeaways from fall camp. Those guys are really good. You need to pray for those guys to be able to make it through the season without any injuries. So it seems like the wide receivers on the outside didn't have the best day, but you have to also look at who they're going against. Is that an indictment on the wide receiver room? Is it just a great job by the cornerbacks? You don't know. But Winnie Watkins had a great day from the slot. Seems like he had a lot of option routes. There was a moment in the scrimmage when Winnie Watkins and Trades Green were kind of just going catch for catch from Sam Levitt, getting down the field really fast. So another great day for Winnie Watkins. And I think you're getting to the point with Winnie Watkins where you might have to start talking about putting him in one of those gold jerseys like you have Trades Green, because you want to protect them, because that's going to be one of your playmakers. Tight end, all I have is Trades Green, period. The guy's a stud. I don't need to talk about him too much. The offensive line, like I said, the defensive line was able to wreak some havoc in pass pro at times. Prince Williaman continues to really impress. But the offensive line were okay run blocking. Nothing really jumped off the page to you. What I look at it is great competition, right? You don't want to have a situation where you have one unit dominating the other. We saw that last year when you were a week out from Clemson and you're like, well, the offense can't move the ball at all, so we're just going to go with it. I think there's a lot of great competition going there. And then going to the defensive line, one of the biggest takeaways, Dom McKinley. We've talked about him kind of making a move towards the top of that room. He started next to Deuce Gerald's on the interior of the defensive line. Seems like he had a solid scrimmage as well. So it's great to see him make that move up to the top of the depth chart. We've been waiting on that, I think, for over a year now. And it seems like he's having a little bit of success. As I said, Prince Will is an absolute monster. And then Dylan Carpenter got some first-team reps opposite Prince Williaman ahead of Jordan Ross, who was healthy. Now, Dylan Carpenter, he had gotten some first-team reps when Jordan Ross was hurt, a week ago or so. But now that Jordan Ross is back and the fact that he is still getting first-team reps signals to me that maybe Dylan Carpenter is going to play a bigger role on this team than people imagine. I know, obviously, they just went and got Tui Alamaka. We'll see what happens with Jack Pyburn, but interesting to read that on Dylan Carpenter. Linebacker, nothing really much to report. TJ Daugherty and Whit Weeks are going to be really, really good. It seems like Daugherty switching over to the Will linebacker from Mike is going to free him up and make him really, really good. And then the last thing at safety, Jace Thomas and Tamarcus Cooley continued to swap first-team reps. So we'll continue to monitor that and see who is the first-team starting safety next to Ty Benefield.
Great job. But, yeah, huge weekend. Like Wyatt said, the number one key takeaway, healthy. Like, that is as big of a deal. And look, it can go underappreciated and maybe not talked about enough because you want to know who made plays, who did what. The fact that you continue to come away healthy is excellent. It's the number one thing you want to ask for and number one thing you want at this standpoint. Zay_1-J9X, $5 super chat, 5 claps. Ready. Thoughts on Tennessee naming their true freshman as QB1? That will be an easy win November 21st. You never want to call anything an easy win.
Yeah.
But I am not high on Tennessee whatsoever and just their roster. And, look, we've seen what starting a true freshman quarterback can do. Look, they're going to be at home. It's going to be later in the year. I'm confident in LSU going into that game. Like I said, I'm not high on Tennessee. I don't think they are in the position that many expected them to be after making a playoff 2 years ago. They just haven't built on that. And so I'm not intimidated by them. But I'm interested to see what Brandon looks like and how they kind of develop as the season goes on. But I think we might say, look, they're going to be he's kind of figured it out by November. I think LSU's figured it out by November 21st, and they roll through that game. So excited. What were your thoughts on, before I get into some of my scrimmage takeaways on Faison Brandon being named the starter?
I do think it's the right decision. I do think Faison Brandon is the guy who should be the starting quarterback. Now, like you said, not super high on Tennessee this year. I've seen a lot of people who say they're actually underranked, that I think it's 20 in the AP poll, and that they're a potential playoff team. I personally don't see it. I understand Josh Heupel's system is very quarterback friendly and will help him a lot. And I think you'll see him flash at times this year. But
he's real good.
He is a phenomenally talented player. Reminds me a little bit of Keelan Russell, who just got named the starter at Alabama. But it's
Also
still
the
a
right
true
choice.
freshman quarterback in SEC football. I do think they have a good offensive line. You're seeing some reports that Ori Williams, former LSU Tiger, has been really good. I think they'll be able to run the ball well. Not super confident in their wide receiver room, and their defense is just too much of a question mark for me to be confident in them. They lost their number one edge rusher, Chaz Coleman, who they paid a pretty penny for in the portal. Their starting safety got injured and is out for the season. Arian Carter is suspended for the first 2 games of the season, which is objectively absurd with what's going on with LSU right now. New coordinator Jim Knowles didn't really work out at Penn State last year, so I'm not super worried about Tennessee. I do think it's the right decision to name Faison Brandon the starter, but I don't think it moves the needle really for me.
Is our guy still there, the one that transferred from LSU to Tennessee because he wanted to play left tackle?
No, he's at Kentucky
he's at
now.
Kentucky
What's his name again?
Lance Hurd.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's at Kentucky.
He would make their offensive line better, maybe.
No,
Their offensive line's good.
Yeah.
That's one of their
That's their
strengths.
strength.
They should be able to run the ball fairly well this year. Like Deshaun Bishop, one of the best and most underrated.
Great name.
Yeah, great name. Oh, I might steal that from my
Deshaun
dynasty.
Bishop. Anything last name Bishop, great name.
Oh,
There
my
you
boy,
go.
my Ohio State receiver in my dynasty, Braylon Bishop.
Oh,
That-
hell
BB,
yeah. He's my
see?
new favorite player.
He's pretty nice.
Is he real?
But,
Is he a real player? Or
No,
he's just in your
I
dynasty?
created him. I
Okay,
created him.
okay.
But yeah, no, they should be able to run the ball pretty well. And look, the offense is very quarterback friendly. So if Faison Brandon can figure it out in year 1, they could have a great offense. I'm not super high on the defense, and it's just such a question mark to start a freshman in the SEC.
But it's November 21st, and we'll get to learn a lot about LSU and Tennessee before that game kicks off in Knoxville. But like we said, LSU scrimmage on Saturday, a couple of tidbits that I got. My number one takeaway, Scott Starzik. 3 50-yard field goals, 1 from 58. LSU might have a kicker, guys. Now, look, Lane Kiffin, known for going for it on 4th down and maybe not taking the points. But it's good to know that you saw a 58-yarder and 2 other 50-plus yard field goals go through the uprights. And that's always good to hear. So there you go. That's my star of the second scrimmage of Scott Starzik making 350-plus yard field goals. Defense, of course, impresses again. I think what you have in top-end talent at every position is elite. Like, I don't think you are in a position where you are not extremely uber-talented on defense. Like, Prince Uman-Mielen is elite, right? The interior of that defensive line, look, I get the concern. Those guys are uber-talented. Are they going to make freshman mistakes? Are they going to get pushed around a little bit? They are as talented as it gets. That's why they were 5 stars, right? In addition to that, Dominic McKinley, if like Wyatt said, if he's taking that jump and he's making that step, that is as good for LSU as anything you could hear. Dominic McKinley is a guy we've been waiting on. The pressure has been on. The phone has been ringing for Dominic McKinley. And he hadn't really picked it up yet. Look, he played a lot of football for LSU last season on a really good defense and played well. But if you flash back to when he was at Acadiana, or if you watch the All-American high school clips, I mean, he's running through people's faces. And you haven't gotten to see that at LSU just yet. And if he is finally picking up the phone and ready to be the guy and take some of the pressure off these young guys, because that was part of the concern, was why do Richard Anderson and Deuce Gerald have to play so much when Dom should be right there? He's a junior. He was the number 1 player coming out of Louisiana. All these things. He needs to step up and make it happen. And Lloyd sat over there and kind of put the pressure on him. We talked about him a couple weeks back. If he's stepping up, that's as good of news as you could hear if you're LSU. And I'm ready to see it. Ready to see 96 make those plays. The offense, look, I get that maybe it's not looking as pristine, but from what I heard, it was a little vanilla on what they were calling, and that's on purpose. When there are people there watching, right, when you're sitting there and you're watching and you have people with eyes on it that are all these things, they're not going to show you all of these things they've got because word gets out, word travels. And so I'm all for not showing too much. But I love hearing what Caden Durham was able to do, capitalizing on the opportunity, because, like I said, all 4 of those guys are going to play football for LSU this season. All 4 of those guys, Jones, Berry, Durham, Gage, are all going to get carries, are all going to be on the football field for LSU. Whether injuries happen, right, they're bound to happen, all of those things, all 4 of those guys are going to be able to play for LSU and be effective, and that's huge. You got 4 guys at running back that you can kind of trust to go back out there and do what you need them to do and be players. And the one thing about Caden Durham that was always my favorite was he's built so he's able to be physical, but he also has the home run ability. And that's what you saw on Saturday, were 2 long runs that he was able to break off kind of later on down the game, where maybe the offensive line started leaning on it a little bit, were able to make something happen. And you saw go back to South Alabama in 2024. Look, now that's not big-time football team that you're playing against, but what it is his home run ability. The first 2 plays from scrimmage that Caden Durham makes, he's basically in the end zone. That's also the game that he got injured in, right? Yep. That's when he hurt his toe?
Benga fell on the back of his leg.
And so but you saw that ability, and so you want to see that again. And so it's good to hear that you got 4 guys that can get in the mix and make plays at running back for you. The other position group that I cannot stop talking about is linebacker. I mean, these 2 guys, in Whit Weeks and TJ Daugherty, are as good as it gets in the country. And I don't know how you don't have super, super high expectations for what they do. I think the floor for them is as high as any position or any group in the country, because you just know they're going to make plays. Add Devon Keys into that mix as well. Maybe even Tylen Singleton, who's going to get in the mix in addition to that. Excited about what they've got. Safety, depth, players, playmakers. Ty Benefield's name I cannot stop hearing. Every person I interact with, Ty Benefield comes up because he's a player. And so it's exciting to hear the success from the scrimmage on Saturday, what LSU was able to accomplish. Of course, the quarterback, Sam Leavitt, continue to hear positivity coming from him. I continue to watch Sam Leavitt highlights and be impressed, and I can't wait to see what this offense can do around him. That is still the standpoint I am in. From listening to Lane's answers last week, he repeated twice. Need players around him to make plays. You went and added another one of those over the weekend in Daquan Wright. Caden Durham steps up on Saturday, makes some plays. Winnie Watkins continues to progress, and some of these other receivers. You want to see these guys continue to make plays around him, and LSU is going to do everything they can to do so. But I'm excited to watch Sam Leavitt play quarterback for the Tigers. So ultimately, a successful weekend for LSU as they have a successful scrimmage. Like we said, success is everybody stays healthy. And they did that on Saturday. And then, of course, the additions of Tui Halamaka and Daquan Wright over the weekend. A huge weekend for LSU and super exciting to see. In addition to that, does anyone else have anything they want to add football-wise before we close out the scrimmage discussion? Anything?
No, pretty good.
And so, in addition to that, there was other news over the weekend from an LSU standpoint, as the bad guys are the bad guys. If you are LSU, you are the bad guy. LSU basketball adds commitment from top UCLA transfer guard Donovan Dent has been added to LSU's roster. His stats in 2025, 13.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, 7.6 assists, and some rough shooting splits are true. He was 40, 25, 65 were the percentages, his shooting splits. He did shoot 37% and 40% from 3 the previous 2 years before the past one. But I'll say those numbers again, 13.5 points, 7.6 assists. That's what you like to see. Plug-and-play guy at point guard and continues to make this team better. Donovan Dent, R.J. Luis, Sky Clark, Divine Ugachukwu, Austin Nunez as the guards. At the wings, Saliu Niang, Michael Ruzic, Abdi Bashir Jr., Jordan Bender, and then your bigs, Diabate and Bryce Desert. Are your 2 bigs there. So good to see this squad come together. Like we said, the big news will be today as R.J. Luis has his hearing this afternoon. But it's good to see Donovan Dent added. He is a fifth-year point guard. He was one of the 73 players in California that got granted a TRO to become eligible for this season. And so, look, I believe he had kind of announced he was retiring from basketball after this past season. Ultimately has made the decision he's coming back. The thing in the stat that stood out to me the most was his assist to turnover ratio. I remember the conversation, when Will Wade first got the job, somebody asked, what the situation at point guard was going to be. Even, especially again, after Yam Madar announced he wasn't coming to LSU and he instead was going to stay in the EuroLeague, it was like, what's LSU going to do at point guard? And my take was, when has Will not had a point guard? Like, we had Will Wade as a coach at LSU. When did Will not have a point guard, right? He got to LSU, made that happen. Tremont Waters, there's your point guard, right? Add Skylar Mays, add Javonte Smart into that mix, and then whenever that series of point guards rolled over, that you go and get Xavier Pinson, who before got hurt was balling for LSU, right? He's always had a point guard. That's because that is the heartbeat of your team. That's what you do. Donovan Dent has a 4.14 assist to turnover ratio last season, which was number 3 in the country. Now, he needs to improve shooting the basketball. That's without a doubt. I mean, the shooting splits that I read out to you are not that impressive. But 4.14 assist to turnover ratio is big time. And they've got players around him that can score. You've got Abdi Bashir Jr. from Kansas State, who is a sharpshooter. You've got these players that they've added, all these guys. You have your quarterback, you have your point guard to run this thing. We'll see as this continues to play out because there, of course, is still some ambiguity around this case as he's a fifth year, the TRO, all those things. Both Sky Clark and Donovan Dent are part of that, the two former UCLA guards that are now at LSU. But that is a huge announcement to what LSU has in this backcourt. In addition to R.J. Luis, who you will hear about today, his preliminary injunction hearing is scheduled. So we will see today at 1:30 what happens there. But super excited about this Will Wade roster. Don't know how you couldn't be. And so now you've seen over the weekend both Lane Kiffin and Will Wade do exactly what they do. And that is say, screw your feelings. Screw what you think is right or what makes you feel good. I'm doing what my job is, and that's to win. Will Wade just joins hand in hand with Lane Kiffin as the bad guys of the sport, and that's okay. That's okay. There's not a better fan base to accept being the bad guys than the LSU fan base, and especially those two head coaches, both Will Wade and Lane Kiffin at LSU. So a big addition over the weekend of Donovan Dent to this LSU basketball roster. As all that concern, there was a lot of conversation and concern around Will Wade and his roster and what he was going to do at LSU. A lot of people have their feelings about it. But like we've said, like most people that trust Will Wade and know Will Wade, you're going to be all right. Because I'm lucky enough to know Coach Wade and to have seen and witnessed what he did, of course, last time, and just know the way he goes about things. He never doesn't have a plan. He's always got a plan. He is as prepared. And that's the awesome thing in this conversation. I know we talk about a lot about the screw your feelings, whatever. It is just a breath of fresh air that you have coaches, head coaches in your two money-making sports that have a plan, that are prepared. Because you could be in the position where these rulings come out, these TROs get granted, and you sit back and go, man, what are our coaches doing? Why aren't they involved in this while you're watching other guys make the moves, right? Because that's what would be happening, like we said. If you don't do it, somebody's going to do it. If Donovan Dent doesn't end up at LSU, he ends up somewhere else. If these EuroLeague guys don't end up at LSU, they get signed elsewhere. Like Duke picks them up, Kentucky, whoever. Somebody does it. If Daquan Wright doesn't end up at LSU, he ends up somewhere else. If Jack Pyburn doesn't come back to LSU, he's going back somewhere else. So you could be sitting back watching other coaches and other programs pick these guys up. But instead, you get to sit back and trust that your coaches have a plan. They are not surprised. They are not caught off guard. They are not unprepared. They are ready. And it is a breath of fresh air. I know we can talk about the feelings and all those things. It's just nice to sit back and go, man, my coaches, as an LSU fan, are prepared. They have a plan. They know what they're doing. They're not surprised by these rulings. Look, we may be. Like, we could be sitting back and something comes across the timeline and go, whoa, I didn't see that coming. They aren't. How calming is that? That you don't have to worry if you're finding out news the same time as your head coaches. Because we knew early on the transfer portal was going to be pretty important to being a relevant football team. I mean, you found out, and that's the craziest part about this past chapter of LSU football, was the most successful season that LSU had was the one where they went into the portal the hardest, the first one, because they had to. And you hit on the quarterback, and you hit on the DBs, and you hit on the interior defensive lineman, and you hit on the O-lineman. Wow, the portal helps. It works. And you go 10-4, and you had a berth in the SEC championship game. And then you kind of stepped back. You still dipped into the portal, but you weren't going to build through that, right? You needed to build through high school recruiting, even though the teams that were being successful weren't doing that. And so you weren't prepared, right? You were going to build through high school recruiting. Then when you realized that doesn't work, then you needed to build through the portal. And so then you were going to throw money at it and do all these things and whatever. You weren't prepared. Now you are.
It is really nice, of course, but I think Lloyd would agree when I say it's also kind of off-putting because, like, you had the football portal where you needed a quarterback so bad, and it kind of took a couple of days, maybe even a week into the portal where, like, you didn't have Levitt yet. You had maybe kind of missed on Sorsby. It seemed like the DeMond Williams thing didn't go the way you wanted, and then Sam Levitt, it felt like, was in a spot where you weren't going to get him because he was mad at you, and it ended up working out. And you were also able to go get Hassan Longstreet, and then you go to basketball, and it's, well, we've only got 4 or 5 players, and it's like, I really want to trust Will Wade, and I do trust Will Wade, but at a certain point, can we see this roster come together? And I never doubted him, and the roster looks phenomenal on paper now, and you're even seeing some of the media people on Twitter or whatever with podcasts kind of come around to being like, oh, LSU's got players now, and that it actually looks really good on paper. I saw a ranking the other day where it was ranking all of the SEC teams' rosters in basketball, and there was S tier, which was only Florida, and then A tier was about 5 or 6 teams, and LSU was one of the teams in there, and people absolutely went off on the guy in the comments, and every time he would just say, their roster's really good. All these international guys are going to be eligible. RJ Luis is probably going to be eligible too. And that, look, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We'll see. But it is fun to see some of these people come around now, and you look at it, you talked all this shit about Will Wade for so long, and what do you know? The LSU basketball coach did have a plan, and he was able to put together a roster of more than 4 players. What a surprise. And I love the addition of Donovan Dent. As you said, this is the facilitating point guard you needed to be able to run this offense. And I think after reading a little bit of what UCLA fans had to say about him, it seemed like after his year at New Mexico State, which was the year before he transferred to UCLA, he averaged 20 points a game there in New Mexico in whatever conference that is, Mountain West or whatever. It seemed like UCLA tried to put the ball in his hands as a scorer a little bit too much, and that's not necessarily what he is. Don't get me wrong. He can go and give you 12, 15 points a game on some pretty efficient shooting. I mean, the 2 years at New Mexico State before UCLA, he shot 37% and 40% from 3, which is really, really great. If he can get back up to that or even close to that, I think that's a massive win for LSU. But I think in this roster, in this iteration of Donovan Dent's career, you're going to see a player who is more focused on facilitating. He's going to go and get you his points, but he's not going to be needed to score as much as he did last year, where he was probably the primary scoring guard, him and Sky Clark, which is great that they have chemistry and they're going to be on the same roster together. But to have this roster around Donovan Dent, I think is going to be so beneficial
Yeah.
for him and his game, and it's a great addition, and I'm very excited for basketball season.
Another thing with Donovan Dent.
Oh, speaking of
Talking
basketball,
about basketball.
What up?
boot up.
Hey, tell me if I'm wrong here. Watch Donovan Dent a little bit. Watch his highlights and whatnot. Listed at 6'2", plays like he's 6'5". When he gets to the rim, he's tough to stop. Do you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Chucky Sunshine approved.
We check out this guy guarding the door.
Yeah.
When?
You know,
Oh yeah.
him in.
Well, we needed to get to a break, and then Chrissy got
This
here.
is Lloyd's replacement.
Yep.
We've had a falling out with Lloyd. We actually don't like him anymore.
Really?
No. I miss Lloyd more than
Still on vacation. He's coming back today.
Well, you don't like Chris?
I love
No, Christian showed up at 9 a.m. this morning.
Yeah,
true.
my car.
Don't blame the car.
The battery was dead, all right? Battery was
That's
dead,
a
all
good
right?
point.
Should have slept here.
Should have got the new battery yesterday and slept right here.
Good point.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
Basketball's good.
Basketball's pretty good.
You saw practice Saturday?
Uh,
I did not see practice Saturday.
There were
Did
some
you,
reports.
did you see practice Saturday?
Oh.
You got anything for us?
It's all for me.
Maybe
He said, "Get the camera off."
one tidbit of information, one thing that stood out to you.
You got a kicker that can make
One
field goals.
takeaway.
The kicker can kick.
All right.
Transfer from where?
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah, he can kick.
All right,
Freshman
that,
all
that-
SEC last
that's
year.
special teams. We don't care about that.
We
Anything else?
definitely shut the.
This
You
guy.
said one thing.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Something
He
bad.
gave us
Yes, it counts.
kicking information.
That's a very big
That
game.
is
He
a
made 350
massive
yards.
part
If
of
I
the
went,
game.
if I went to an exclusive
Okay,
practice,
I'll
you
give
asked me
you
for
that.
information, I was like, oh, the kicker could
I'll
kick.
give
Like,
you something better. Good time management.
all
There
right,
you go. Good
okay.
time management. That's a good one.
Well, after last year, anything would have been better. I mean, it's not hard.
Good
to
time
improve on
management. They
last
called
year.
a timeout before the
I'll
kick.
give you another one.
All right.
It's even better without Brian Kelly on the side.
Oh
Hell yeah.
yes,
Hey, that's the best one yet.
love
There
to
we
Good
go.
to
hear
hear.
that.
So, good. But,
But-
yeah, I think basketball will be all right.
Me too.
Good to know.
Basketball will be all right.
Interesting. Not that we had
Donovan
any
Dent?
dents.
Today could be the day. It could rule on.
We'll
on
see.
the
How, is this open? Is it open to the public? Can we go sit and
I
watch?
don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
I feel like we should. I feel like we should be
It's
there.
up to the judge. but
Yeah, I guess so.
It could be the day.
1:30.
It's a great plan in theory, but we're gonna be like 30 minutes in of the judge reading off like legislate, and we're gonna be like, this fucking sucks, dude. You want to go across the street to fucking Chipotle and get some lunch?
There is no Chipotle across the street.
Okay, you just consistently try to find. No. You just
know what a kidhouse is?
try to find fault with me in everything that I say. Absolutely, that is the biggest
You did
example
that to
of
yourself,
it
right?
right there. No, I just made up a place. It could be any. It could
Why?
be anything.
You went from talking about R.J. Luis's hearing to talking about Chipotle.
Yes, I was making
that's
a
on you,
joke.
man. That's
You're
on
doing a
you.
Very good job of the nutritionist.
Thank you.
Just saying. I love you to death. I truly do. But you're not doing a very good job.
Oh, well. Someone doesn't want to cook.
I'm doing great. I'm literally doing great.
What his family doesn't cook. Papa Vaughn and Mama Vaughn.
He can go to the store and buy some chicken, save a little bit of money.
Yeah.
I'm doing great without
Just
cooking.
go buy a whole rotisserie chicken.
Your bank account's
No, because
not-
then I'll eat the whole rotisserie chicken.
In one sitting?
Yeah,
Buy two.
then I'll eat two.
Lost calls.
Sorry. See y'all.
See
ya.
There he
Oh,
is.
he's the best.
Shout out. Some good time management, Chrissy. Is that a good enough answer
That
for
was
you?
pretty good. You know,
like that answer?
Look, I mean, am I wrong for trying to squeeze a little something more out of him? Pause. You know what I mean? Like, I really just the kicker can kick. Like,
Hey, he can 350 yarders.
okay, cool. That's not gonna matter till we actually see it in the game. Now, the other stuff that can actually matter. Like, okay, maybe something.
Yeah,
there's something
putting
there,
3
you know?
points up on the board as opposed to 0 just doesn't matter. I
Good
guess.
time management. That should fire you up, Chrissy.
Gosh.
I will say, to that point, it reminded me of
Tuesday
I'm
night
sitting and I'm watching Charlie Weiss Jr.'s press conference on Friday, and he kept talking about the relationship, the communication, and the situation essentially between quarterback, OC, head coach, quarterback's coach, and the operation they have and how smooth it goes. And I was like, that's just all. He kept saying that, the relationship, the communication. I kept seeing in my head, I don't remember which game it was, but the camera going from Kelly and Nussmeier walking the sideline, Kelly looking at him, yelling at him, and Nussmeier pointing up at Sloan, and then the camera panning to Sloan, and he had his hands up like this, and it was just like, it was a mess. Like last season, there was no chemistry between those three. It was a It was a reality television show. It was a soap opera between those three people. And look, we know who the issue was. One guy's slinging passes in the preseason for the Chiefs. One guy got an SEC OC job. And one guy's calling Mountain West games. So we know why it was messy. Man, was it nice to be able to think about that, but listen to Charlie Weiss on my television tell me, but we have an operation that is smooth.
Yeah.
And our communication is crisp. And we use the green dot to our advantage. And we think about these things. And we're in control and we're in positions to be. And I was just like, how nice was it to hear from the offensive coordinator just how elite that operation is between those three guys. And that's why I sit and say there's not going to be a bigger improvement college football-wise than the LSU 25 offense to the LSU 26 offense. And that is the root of it. You had complete disconnect a year ago. You have, like Fonz says, alignment from top to bottom. Lane Kiffin, Charlie Weiss, Dane Stevens, Sam Levitt aligned. All in the same boat rowing the same direction, as opposed to running an offense and an offensive scheme with a quarterback that doesn't fit that scheme and a head coach that wants to butt in and veto play calls, and then burning timeouts and still getting delay of games after that. No more. It's over. You're free. You've been healed. Welcome to a legit offense and alignment between your quarterback, your OC, your quarterback's coach, and your head coach. Beautiful, beautiful to see.
And that's why I think we've all spoken so highly of Sam Levitt, why we have so much confidence in what he's going to be able to do this season, right?
Right.
When you've got Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin in your ear pre-play up to 15 seconds before the clock ends, that makes it so much better. Chrissy, what are we falling asleep over there?
Yo, buddy, flip the camera.
Oh, my fault, twin.
He was so excited about his little comment, his stupid
was, he
comment
loved-
that wasn't funny.
It was really good.
He
actually.
tried to
Okay.
mouth it to me, realized I couldn't hear it, and then commented.
And then put it in the
nice.
chat. There we go.
Real
Continue,
nice.
Wyatt.
But no, that's why we have so much confidence in Sam Levitt. Like, Garrett Nussmeier last year wasn't just trying to figure out defenses. He's trying to figure out who the fuck is talking in his ear and what everyone's trying to say. That's not going to happen this year. Charlie Weiss and Lane Kiffin are going to be on the same page as Sam Levitt. They have not had a bad quarterback year when they have been working together. You go back and look at Jackson Dart. Did he have some inconsistent moments? Sure. But the overall sentiment was Jackson Dart was great. Trinidad Chambliss was great, right? Even going back before Charlie Weiss, Matt Corral was great. And that's why we have so much confidence in Sam Levitt. Because if you put Sam Levitt on last year's team and he's having to deal with the discombobulation of Brian Kelly and Joe Sloan, he's not going to play well. No quarterback plays well in that discombobulated system. This is a different team. This is a different coaching staff. And I continue to think this may be the best coaching staff in the country.
No, I'm with you. Like I'm so excited for how it's going to play out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell. If you are in here and you're enjoying the show, like Fonz says, not just my work, Wyatt's work as well. Chrissy, nah. And Lloyd's.
This is my internship. not my
That it
work.
is. It is.
That's true.
And then, of course, Lloyd's work, not here. Can't wait for LC to be back with us.
Oh, we're unaligned. We're discombobulated.
We are. We don't have our guy.
We're
No LC.
unaligned. I know. I'm back here. I'm not supposed to be calling plays for this offense. No. I should be running.
You didn't even show up to the game on time.
No, I didn't.
You walked in at halftime going, yo, bub, let's
Drunk.
run the ball.
Drunk. Yeah.
It's reeking of whiskey.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Walking into the booth. You guys give me on
Honestly, if I was reeking of whiskey, if I was drunk like that, I would call a better game.
You think so?
100%.
Yo, Turkey, call my plays.
Just no second guessing. Like
There you go. Well, maybe we'll do that on EA College Football.
full
one night.
house.
Oh,
3rd
love
and 10.
that.
Yeah. Let Wyatt use the sticks. You call the plays drunk.
All right,
Oh,
bad.
Turkey on the
Bet.
play call.
It's going to be full house. It's going to be
yeah,
full
yeah.
house.
3rd and 1
full
field
house,
goal block.
full house.
But make sure you like, subscribe if you appreciate everything we do, and go follow us on all of our social media as well. Wyatt does great work over there. But we did have a $5 super chat from our guy, Cajun Curveball. 5 claps. Ready. Saints signed a kicker Kickers will be very valuable if they can kick 59 to 69 yarders with the new kickoff rules. Defenses won't like this. Daniel Carlson. Yes, they signed Daniel Carlson for that wide open kicker's job that they've got in New Orleans. A rough weekend for the Saints, huh, Chrissy?
What happened to Charlie Smith? That's what I want to know. I haven't kept up with Charlie Smith. I mean, I don't keep up with kicking in general, so I don't really. I think he missed a kick in the first preseason game. They obviously got discombobulated the last game, but they lost the first preseason game. I think Charlie Smith might have missed a kick in that game or may have missed a kick in one of the joint practices. So he's now just completely off the team. Everybody was raving about him last year. Daniel Carlson, I guess, welcome.
Daniel Carlson was very good with the Raiders.
Yeah,
from what I remember.
I guess. Kickers coming go. Younghoe Koo is nowhere to be found now. Like who does he play for?
It's such a mental game. I don't think he's playing anywhere right now.
He was the Falcons' Jesus at one point. Now he's just like, I don't know, just some random guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna run through the Saints drives from their game against the Rams, in which they lost.
It's a preseason game. We don't have to do this.
34-0.
It's a preseason game.
I know,
but
let's at least make it look like we know we're doing a little bit.
Drew was perennially known for going 2-2 in the preseason. Drew and his Saints.
No, it doesn't. No. You don't put it on Drew. Drew's playing a quarter at most.
But he would start, though.
But still,
the Saints were known for going 2-2 and then finished the year.
Yeah,
with
you
13
lost.
wins.
You couldn't even put a point on the board. You can't reject that this is objectively bad.
Okay, we know the Saints' depth of receiver shit. We know.
Depth everywhere. Obviously, you didn't score.
Yeah, they need to be healthy this year.
You ready?
That's the whole thing.
Punt, interception, turnover on downs, punt, interception, punt.
Where was that
fumble,
turnover on downs at?
Punt, missed field goal.
Where was it? Red zone?
The turnover on downs
touchdown in the regular season.
At the Rams 43, 4th and 1, couldn't get it.
Yeah, they probably picked that up.
Regular season solves that issue.
I will say this. I have never been a big Kellen Moore stan. I do, obviously, it's too early to count him out. Kellen Moore, though, just gives off bad. Like, I don't like his energy. He feels like he doesn't feel like an alpha, coach that's going to lead his team. Now, obviously, we've seen coaches that are not alphas be very good coaches.
Right.
So I'm not gonna use. But he feels very awkward at the stand.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I don't know how he gets players to buy in. Necessarily.
He's not a rah-rah guy.
It's
the offense.
He's a schematics guy.
He's an offensive coordinator as a head coach.
But that's what worries me because last year you would see crucial third downs and he'd run the tush push. It's like, bro, this isn't Philly. Like that shit don't work here. Like that worked in Philly. That's not going to work here. Here in it, I think it was like the Dolphins or somebody and turned over on that. It was like, and then the 49ers game last year, he sold that game. So, Kellen Moore, prove it. Because Shuck is going to be a big part in that too.
Of course,
if Shuck doesn't work, Moore's not going to work.
Right.
But also,
a quarterback. The head coach is tangentially. He's tied to his quarterback, and this is his quarterback,
especially Kellen Moore.
But even if Shuck still performs well, I don't believe in Moore that much.
But if Shuck performs well,
that
is
Kellen Moore.
Has to go to Kellen Moore.
He handpicked him, and he's.
I just think
part of the reason I love Kellen Moore is because he's kind of got a rap as a quarterback whisperer now. You saw what happened to Jalen Hurts when he left. Jalen Hurts has not been as good since Kellen Moore has left. And you come in, you look not bad with Spencer Rattler, who's not a very good NFL quarterback.
No, he didn't look bad at all.
That's what I'm saying. And then you have a rookie who was a second-round pick, Tyler Shuck, come in and also look good. So Kellen Moore's starting to become a rap as he's a very good quarterback developer. So if Tyler Shuck comes in and lights it up, as much as you can give all the credit in the world to Tyler Shuck, a lot of that credit also goes to Kellen Moore.
I do think, especially last year, watching there were so many times last year the Saints would get into close spots in games last year, late in the game, and it would just be they wouldn't execute, right? And it's not necessarily saying that's Moore's fault, but it is to say,
you know what
if
that's
that
called?
continues, that's a coaching thing.
No, that's called a team that's not ready to compete. They just weren't
good.
No,
that could be true. I'm saying if that continues
their team's
this year,
just not that
good.
If that continues to happen this year and they go 5-12 or 6-11, that's different. But you need to see steps taken forward, and you win a couple of those closer games that you dropped. I don't need to see you go 13-4.
Right.
But if you can get to like 8-9 or 9-8, 10-7, I think, and Tyler Shuck continues to improve and look good, I think that those are steps in the right direction.
It just has me weary, like, because that's a sign early, but also that might not be a sign. Like, that literally could just be what you said, like a team that's not ready to win and compete at the highest level, which I can completely see. But if that continues this year, you kind of see close spots in games where the Saints really, like, truthfully and honestly, they just choke against like a Falcons or a Panthers or maybe one of these division rivals or a game late in the year that you kind of need a win to get in the playoffs or keep your spot in the hunt. Yeah, like I think I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen, but we'll see.
We'll see. No, I think. Look, I just think that this. I think the Kellen Moore situation, obviously, the team's ability to win and their overall record plays a big part in it. If Tyler Shuck takes another step in the right direction and looks
100%.
even better, that is 1,000% tied
100%.
to Kellen Moore because he made the decision
To get him
against our wishes. Like I don't think many people wanted Tyler Shuck.
I was
like
mad.
nobody wanted him, but Kellen Moore saw it. You saw the development at the end of the season last year, him grabbing hold of the job. Everything I've seen from Tyler Shuck over the offseason and into OTA like has been so positive.
Good.
Like for him to sit and say like, no, I'm taking over the pregame huddle from DeMario and Drew. Like that's what I want the quarterback to do.
Yeah, I love that.
And so like I like Tyler Shuck. I hope he takes the steps in the right direction. And if he does, you got to give credit to Kellen Moore. But it was upsetting to see them get 34-0.
I literally
with one of them being a pick six in the end zone when Spencer Rattler threw it into four guy coverage.
Like honestly, I could give less of a fuck
Funny.
about that.
I don't
Like,
remember a single play from the game.
Like I literally don't. I don't watch preseason.
No, I don't. But I'm not blaming you. Like I'm not. It
No,
is
I know.
preseason, and the regular season is important. I think.
Yeah,
they're-
I mean, it's
I don't
concerning.
think Tyler Shuck makes that throw.
But, right, that's what I'm saying. Like the starters are not in, and the
But
Rams
it-
starters aren't in either.
Right.
But that does help the Saints case. But I'm just saying, like,
Right.
none
No,
of that
I
shit
agree.
matters.
I agree. But still, like you would like for your team to fight a little bit more than
Yeah.
34-0.
Like we're like, and now what preseason's become is we're talking about a guy that might come back to LSU on some of these teams. Like what? Like
That- but
there's
see-
dudes that are playing in the games that might come back to LSU. Like what are we?
No,
doing?
I mean you're not wrong.
like preseason does not fucking matter.
It does matter.
I agree. It's not like a massive indictment on how the
No.
Saints are going to do this season.
But it is
and I think-
embarrassing to turn it on and see your team getting throttled.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
regardless.
great. I'm with Christian. Like, I really don't watch preseason. If it's on, I'll throw it on in the background while I'm sitting
Like,
at my desk just to watch
Yeah.
something. But it's not. I'm not setting out time to be like, oh, Saints preseason.
Bro,
game,
I
3
had
o'clock
somebody-
today. It's
On Friday,
It
I was
doesn't
in the
mean
gym and I was like, "Hey man, what you doing
Congrats.
this weekend?" Yeah, thanks.
You need it.
yeah.
I was in the gym and there's this guy in there. I was talking to him. I was like, "Hey man, what you doing this week? You doing anything fun?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm watching the Saints game on Saturday." I'm like, brother, the Saints game. It's fucking preseason. It's not even called a game.
mean-
It's called It's called a televised joint practice. That's what.
I
that
don't
is.
think you can. I don't think you
I'm
can.
watching the Saints game on Saturday.
What
Like,
are you doing
dude,
with your
I
What are you
guess.
doing with your watch over there?
Just holding it.
I don't think you can make fun of a Saints fan for being like
No.
excited to watch the team. Like even if, because I do agree, like I don't watch preseason. It is stupid and meaningless. I don't think you can be like, oh, dude, you want to watch the fucking Saints game on Saturday? What a loser! Like that's not.
I mean,
like you're just so judgmental.
That's just who
Stupid
I am.
and meaningless.
That's
Did
more
you
of who
not
I
see the
am. I
Cowboys
wouldn't do
preseason
that.
game with
The
our
joint practice?
No, with our Navajo Nation. You didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
So
see this.
the first
I was on Premier
Navajo
League Twitter this weekend.
NFL player plays for the Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
And they were in Arizona, and like they had this whole section of like the Navajo Nation, and like the guy comes off the field. I think he was a late round pick out of Kentucky. And he's like walking over, and they're all like, they got the flags, and they're like
That's
screaming
sick.
at him. And he was like,
That is
it
sick.
was pretty. It was actually pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Like like all his teammates were like around him, and they like all stepped back so he could like stand there by himself. And he started pointing at them and like pointing at the logo.
Yeah.
Then he gave a speech after the game, and he was like, "Fate brought us here as strangers,
oh fuck yeah.
but football and this star has turned us into brothers." And they all like,
Oh,
freaking,
hell
dude,
yeah.
It was like a movie. It was like
Yeah.
legit like a movie.
Better
Just
take
wait till
over
they
Jerry's
well,
world.
never mind.
It's legit like a movie.
About to invade.
Okay,
What?
this guy.
fucking
But
Lord.
we appreciate all of you starting your morning here with us. You think you can pull off some LSU trivia, Chrissy?
Obviously.
Obviously. Glad you got your car fixed, Chrissy.
Yeah, I'm not. I was trying to skip the show today.
Yeah, I believe it.
What's the
These
what's
are the
it called?
shows that Christian doesn't like when we actually like have
When
stuff
he has
to talk about.
Not just that, when he has to do something.
Yeah, that's true too. But when there's not much news going on and we get to riff a little
You're
bit,
actually
that's
running
what
with
Christian
this. I know. I
wants.
wanted to be here, Wyatt, actually, so I beg your pardon. So you can shut up.
Oh,
right now.
do you beg my pardon?
Yeah, you can shut the fuck up right now.
You can shut up. I'll fucking tie you to a chair and make you watch a preseason game.
Oh, I'll get my Navajo brethren to fucking kill you.
We appreciate everybody starting their morning with us. Make sure you like, subscribe, stay locked on everything we've got going on. Great stuff on our social media as well at Tingle__co. Put out a video this morning. I don't know if everybody saw that video of KJ Green, the LSU defensive end commit. Coach, left tackle didn't even touch him.
Yeah, that twitch and bend is crazy. I don't think we talked about this on Friday. We don't have to talk about it too much because it's not a big shock. Game day. Going to Oxford,
yeah, we talked
week
about it a little
3.
bit.
Did we? Okay.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
didn't
week
remember
3, it's layup.
Yeah.
Easiest thing ever. Wait. Go ahead and delete that. I've never been with LSU in any capacity, but I did face off against the Tigers. I'm now pretty famous.
See, I would think like Pavia.
Maybe.
I think this is literally like a player that didn't play and now is like a celebrity.
See, that's what I was kind of thinking too, and that's why I kind of went Pavia. Because he is like very, very famous, but not like his level of celebrity doesn't match his level of football player.
I can see pretty famous being like Carter being like, yeah, I'm just pretty famous, but he's like actually like super famous.
Yeah, you typed in The Rock. So I don't know if The Rock played against LSU. He went to Miami.
Did Roman Reigns ever play against LSU?
He went to Georgia Tech. So
I know. We played them in a bowl game though.
Yeah.
What was that, like 08? Because Jordan Jefferson went off. My dad tells me about that game. He was, I was so bought in on Jordan Jefferson.
Did Brock Lesnar play football?
Yeah,
he did.
I think in like Minnesota.
Minnesota! Oh, it's not the same without Lloyd, man.
Minnesota!
Get you some of them. There you go. What flavor you go with?
Green
there
apple.
There you go. Good man.
I don't know.
Just put something in. We're gonna have.
Brandon said, "Good luck with this one, boys." Yeah, just do.
You can do Pavia if you want.
Yeah, just do Pavia.
Yeah,
that's fine. Are you gonna type anything?
Is it? Yeah, I did. Oh, I did it on my. Pavia was wrong. I did it on the web browser,
dude.
That's unbelievable, really.
Bro, just typed in Pavia. You're unbelievable.
What?
Just type in the name, the full name.
Oh no, I just do last name.
No,
I do just
for
do
the
last
full
name.
Dude, lighten up.
No, you just screwed it up twice.
Lighten up.
And showed up late. I lost to LSU in excruciating fashion where he blew a double-digit lead. I actually had one of my career best games in the box score.
Auburn?
See, I was thinking also Auburn, 17 and 18.
Yeah.
But I like Carryon
South
Johnson.
Carolina.
Like I don't think that's someone who's like pretty famous now.
South Carolina?
Could be South Carolina. Lenora
Wisconsin?
Sellers. I mean, could be Wisconsin. They did blow a double-digit lead to us in 14. I was in the RV.
Who's famous, though?
Yeah.
It's going to be like somebody that doesn't play football anymore. It's famous for acting or some shit.
Right. Where did Nate Burleson play college football at? Isn't he on like the Today Show or something?
Yeah, my dad loves him, yeah. Nate Burleson, college. He went to the University of Nevada. So
No.
Don't think we were ever down double digits to Nevada.
Nope.
Oh, I guess this doesn't have to be football, right?
I would think it's football.
Like, can this be basketball?
I guess it could be basketball.
You would blow a double-digit lead in basketball.
Who?
That just happens in basketball.
Oh, nice.
Patrick Mahomes. They weren't up double digits. It could be basketball. Like that. Chrissy is right. I actually had one of my best career games in the box score. It does feel like a basketball hint. We haven't had a non-football player yet, have we? Or non-football related person, I guess.
I guess it could be basketball.
Sharif Cooper.
JJ Redick.
What?
Oh, Billy Vaughn in the chat says Charles Barkley. Let's go. You know what? Billy Vaughn's answer goes in.
All right, Bill.
Dang it. I'm extremely close with one of LSU's best assistants with an extra S of the modern era.
Oh, I don't know.
Joe Schwartz.
So, like, it wouldn't be Ed. Like I'm saying, as the best assistant, I don't think they would be counting Ed. I mean, he was. What is the modern era? Because he was a great assistant before he took over in 17. That's what I was also thinking. Jimbo. Could it be like an A&M player? But when did they blow a double-digit lead to us? I don't think they were ever up double digits and lost.
Well, I'm not saying like it's just somebody that's friends with Jimbo.
Right.
So like it doesn't have to be an A&M player.
But who would be friends? I don't know. Yeah.
I'd be friends with Jimbo.
Who would be the best?
Marcus Freeman.
Oh, I bet it is Marcus Freeman because he lost to us in the national championship game, and he's with Denbrock.
Got it.
Bang.
Who's
Who
that?
put
Not
that?
Z01. There we
Shout
go.
out Not
Good
Z01.
job. Not
Oh.
Z.
Oh my gosh, bro! I was like, is that? Did they set y'all up?
Not Z.
Yeah, no,
It's
I was
not
like,
Z.
They meant
Fucking
he meant to
saying it.
set you up with his name.
I'm just making sure. NOTZEE _1.
Wow, I haven't heard that one. You fucking.
I can't believe y'all fell for that because I
You
saw it. I
got
was like,
all
I can't
of
say his
us.
name.
He sniffed it out.
I did not.
I was like, how'd y'all not see that? I mean, read it.
How did we what?
How did you not hear or listen to yourself?
Yeah, that's what I
think
thought.
about it.
Oh my.
Shout out to you.
Thank you, KGB01.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Easy.
Yo, wow.
That's impressive.
Oh, I think that was okay. Like Jason Segal in 2000.
Thank
I
you,
tried forgetting one of my
SSO1.
lowest moments in my current profession, probably when he lost to Marshall or NIU. Hit the jackpot by not picking LSU when LSU wanted me. Yep.
Yeah.
Did a good job. He shouldn't have come here. What a way to fucking ruin the show right at the end, boys. Oh.
I cannot believe y'all fell for that. I mean, look at his
I've
name.
never seen that one before. I feel like I see a lot of them, and like I've never seen that one.
The Brenda song, the London Tipton color commentary, not very good. Did you
I
see
didn't really
that?
see it. No.
Oh yeah, that was.
Was it bad?
It was.
Is she a Rams fan?
I guess. I mean, she was like, that's the thing. She was like clapping, like, go, 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 touchdown. It's like, that's not color commentary.
That's you're being a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not how that
I will
works.
say, some of the commentators in the NFL games, like the preseason games, I've just seen clips on Twitter now, have been awful. Like there was one,
Oh, yeah.
Joe Milton threw an awesome touchdown down the sideline, and the commentator fucking ruins it.
Really?
Like he's literally just like, Milton, down the sideline, caught, touchdown.
See, I
and
don't
it's like,
understand why we're getting farther as like sports media is changing,
Right.
And things are becoming more fan oriented and like loud and like you don't care anymore. Like, why are we getting farther away from
Yeah,
that?
I just-
Like, what? Why are Gus Johnsons
Yeah.
leaving?
Well, and now those types of people like Gus Johnson's and
Right.
Mike Brinsmore are actually becoming more famous.
Right.
So it's like, why are
Or
y'all not molding towards that?
Like the Hornets announcer, awesome,
Yeah,
love
yeah.
him.
How is he not been hired like to a national job?
Because for some reason,
I guess he's
like
probably
you're
a big
moving
Hornets fan.
away and you're like getting these people that are like scared to have him.
Yeah.
Like I want someone calling the game that care. Like why even ponder passing? Like that is awesome. Like you should, if you are the like local call,
Yeah,
you should
100%.
sound like that without a doubt.
100%.
And I think national call, I get why it needs to be a little more buttoned up or like
Sure.
You still
but
should have some
you should
level
still
of excitement.
care.
There is a problem with it too on the national level is they'll try to get these former players to do it, and it's not so much that the former players are bad. The former players show no emotion. They try to like talk about the game. It's like I don't really care about the game. I want to hear
Yes.
you yell at
Like, get-
whatever's happening.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what it should be. You should have some emotion. It's football.
Yeah.
Like, it should draw the emotion out of you.
And look, Gus Johnson is like the extreme of like the most emotional
Of course.
rah-rah guy in the booth. I don't need you to be that. Like, look, Chris Fowler, I think, does a great job.
right,
yeah.
He's not as emotional and loud as Gus Johnson, but he does a good job of understanding the moment. When a big play happens, he's going to get excited, right?
Yeah.
He's going to raise his level of voice a little bit, and it's going to get the fan kind of enticed. It's just no fun.
Like, I want to watch the Hornets just for this. Like, he's just screaming.
That is awesome.
It's like like it sounds like a fan got a microphone.
Like even like Diggs sideline touchdown. I know it's against the Saints.
No,
but
I mean,
that's a
yeah,
good
like
call.
that's a big moment. Like, and I sent the Joe Milton one in the DMs on Twitter. It's just like
I'll play it.
I just watched it and I was like, man, like you could be doing so much better. Get the guy who did the Phillies inning.
Consistently and making big plays when they're there.
Speaking of big plays on the money, Joe Milton downfield for a touchdown strike.
Like this should be like a tryout. Like
That's
you
what-
should
that's-
be working for a gig.
This should be
Look,
a
that's-
It should be like you're gonna get cut if you don't do well.
Right.
It should be for like the same thing.
Yeah, like,
That's how I look at it. And look, I'm not obviously not a commentator, so I don't know as well as these guys. But like, if I'm doing a preseason game, I'm
Right.
gonna show some excitement. Like I don't know. I would look at that as like a tryout. I want someone
Yes.
to hear me and be like, "Wow, this guy's good at his job. Like he does great. Like I'm gonna show a little bit of excitement." And it was because that's
Especially if
objectively
you're
like a good like 53-yard
That's a
bomb
freaking-
down
it's
the
a
sideline,
dime.
and it was just like nothing. Like it was a 5-yard run up the middle. Like I
It
don't
is-
need you
it's
to be
upsetting.
excited every single play.
Where's Lynn Rollins when you need
But
him?
there are moments. Oh.
Pucker up and kiss that
I also
baby
hate,
goodbye.
and especially in football, and I think this is just an announcer thing. Whenever there's a boom, like someone gets fucking hit hard, and they're
Kirsty's
like, "Oh,"
favorite.
and he takes a lick there, and it's like, no, that needs to be like, "Oh shit," you know what I'm saying? Like that needs to be.
Yeah, he took his head off.
Get me off my feet. I want to feel the
Right.
hit.
Yeah.
You know? Even if it is a flag, like, oh man, that probably wasn't safe, but what a hit! Like, yeah, come on.
Yeah,
XFL.
okay. Nice.
There you go. No, it is. I don't like that announcers are like leaning into like
I know.
just calling the game.
Just nonchalant. Like be nonchalant with women, dude. This is your fucking job.
I also
Like,
think announcers need to be, and this is just me because I enjoy Stephen A. I enjoy people like that. I like when announcers are super opinionated. Like, say there's a bad like targeting call, right?
Yeah.
I need the announcer. If he disagrees, I need him to make it known that he disagrees with that. Now he should say the rule and why the rule applies.
Right.
But he also needs to say like, yeah, this rule's just stupid.
there are
like I
there
wish
are,
that would
there
happen
are
more.
rules about that.
I
though.
understand, but
there are things you can't do.
there are announcers that do that, and
Right.
it is like, do that,
And you
do
can
that.
but you can get fined.
I get, but if you're like a player can be opinionated, they're not going to get fined. Like there's players all the time that are on like commentaries and stuff that.
But are you talking about like on like commentating the game or on like the booth, like not the booth, like the panel talking about it after the fact?
No, I'm talking about like the color announcer. Like the color announcer's the only one that really gets opinionated,
Right.
and I wish they would both kind of because the targeting rule, everybody knows it's fucking stupid. So like
yeah.
let's just
No,
say
see,
it's
I
stupid.
disagree. I think the color commentary guy should be less emotional about things because he's really more there from an analyzation standpoint.
that's fair,
The
too.
guy who's like the play-by-play guy, I think, is a little bit different, and he can kind of say like, I don't know, like I disagree with that. But yeah, I mean, they
Like,
really aren't.
a
supposed to
great
do that.
example of this is like in baseball, like when an umpire misses the strike zone,
Right.
like and they straight up say, "Oh, we missed that one." Like I like that. I wish that
that's
was
not-
true in a lot of other sports.
That's not giving an opinion. If the ball missed the strike zone, they're just reporting the facts at that point.
Yeah, no,
Like
that's-
football's a little bit different to where you have like targeting calls that are kind of 50-50. They could go either way. And it's tough to put like the referees on the field because being a referee is a tough job. Like, and so like to kind of lambast the referees on national television, you get into a weird situation.
I think sometimes, but I think there are definitely certain targeting, certain situations, certain unnecessary roughnesses, even where it's like, no, that call they definitely should have had a take on that because every fan every fan watching the game knows
Right.
that was fucking stupid.
But they're not fans.
Yeah, but they can't.
I'm just saying
that
you-
would
I'm
appeal
just,
to the fans.
I'm just trying to let you know.
I know
get
the
that you
way
want
it
that,
is.
but it's
I'm
not gonna
disagreeing
happen.
with the
It's
way
not
it
gonna
should
happen.
be.
That's not the way it should be.
No, that is
They cannot
like
roast the referees from the booth.
like Joel and AD love doing that shit, and that's why Pelicans
that's
fans
different.
love them.
That's
different.
No, but that can
They're
that can
part
be-
of the
that-
Pelicans.
That
Right.
little
They are-
aspect can be brought
They
in a
are.
little
They're
bit.
not national. They're the Pelicans.
Yeah,
No, I'm
they're
not saying
local.
for them to take bias on one team or the other.
No, I'm not saying
not
that.
what you're-
I'm not,
to
that's
be
not
more
what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm
opinionated.
saying. The reason they can be opinionated is because they are the local call. They are not hired by the NBA to call the game. They're hired by the Pelicans, who are part of the
I
NBA.
understand that.
But so the NBA people that are at with TNT or ABC or ESPN that the NBA has under contract, who the NBA also have the referees under contract, can't be overly rude or just crush the officials during a game.
I think that kind of needs to change. Not necessarily crush officials on like maybe 50-50 calls, but if there's a blatantly bad call, and there is one quite often in sports,
Right.
that shit needs to be crushed.
No, I'm
Just
not
like how
disagreeing
but
that
I
it
think
should be
like how
called
you have
out.
the take of like, yeah, referees should do post-game interviews. I completely
Right.
agree.
No, I don't disagree
But
with
I
that.
do think
There's
if
a
it's,
part
if
of
it's
referees in
blatant,
sports.
you will hear someone say, I
Right.
just can't agree with that one. They're not going to go in on the referee.
What are
but
these
they'll-
referees looking at?
Right. They'll say,
That's great,
a very,
though. That's-
But they can't.
But they should be able
But
to.
you can't.
But I don't care what you can and can't do. They should be able to.
But they
that
won't.
that rule needs to change.
Never.
That needs to change. Do you agree that needs to change?
No.
Okay, well then you don't have the same take. Then we can't do post game interviews then, because if we can't
No,
ever go in on
that's-
the referees, then
No, I'm not. During the game.
let's go in on the referees. Come on.
What I'm saying, this is
it is like
the
arguing with a
reason
wall.
why you can do the post game is because the people asking those questions are local media reporters not hired by the people that cut the same check. It would be like me
I understand why you
getting on
can't
this and
do it.
going, I tell you what, Christian is awful at his job and should never be hired to do anything, even though we're under the same logo, right? Like I would be just
I
ruining
understand
your
why
name
you
and your
can't
reputability.
do it. I'm simply saying it shouldn't be like
And
that.
I'm telling you that that's wrong.
Because it can't happen. I don't care if it can or can't happen. I'm just saying that needs to change. I'm saying that should change.
No.
For sports to be more entertaining, the commentators should be able to have less boundaries. Like say what
I'm
you
not
wanna
disagreeing
say.
with that.
I like
You
that.
should be able to have less boundaries.
Okay, then we're in agreement.
Just not the officials are different. It's the people. Like I get why there are rules that are making to where they can't do that.
I think back to like the no call. I felt like the commentators didn't ream the referees enough. That needs to be.
What does
You're
the
getting
commentators reaming the referees do for you though? It doesn't change the call.
It makes me feel better.
Okay.
It makes you experience better watching it as a
Okay.
fan.
But then, if you're a Rams fan in that situation, it makes you feel worse.
Right. Like
You're going to be like, okay, shut the fuck up, Joe Buck.
They have to appeal.
They didn't
Good,
fucking call it
I
on
think
the
that's
field.
good.
No,
That-
it's
that-
not.
Because this is my thing. If
That's
you
a
want,
part of sports,
what
though.
you
It's
should-
like
but
hating the
not from-
commentators.
That's
from the
why.
commentators.
That's why you listen to Bobby Hebert after.
Yes.
Because that's what you want to listen to.
Yes.
Is Bobby.
It's
Lock
not
the doors
necessarily-
to the Superdome. Don't let the referees out.
It's not
That's what you
necessarily
want.
just like the no call. Like I'm sure there's plenty of calls in the instance that I'm talking about of like you can find examples of like commentators reaming referees against like the Saints or something like. And obviously I wouldn't agree with that and I would hate that commentator. But I still think like that engage like. Man, fuck this guy. Turn the volume off. Like that's funny. That's fun to do. With like after the fact,
You're more
it's
worried
fun.
about the commentators than the actual game going on.
True.
That's absurd.
No, like this is a fun aspect to talk about. I don't want.
True.
You thought about it for a second.
True.
I don't
You know
like-
what? You're right.
I don't like when it's watered down. I don't like
I
that.
get that. I understand that.
I hate
you
that
are
shit.
you are an adrenaline junkie.
Like
You
I
would-
need.
You
I
want
want
hit
it to be
sticks.
authentic.
Yeah, I'm not
'cause-
disagreeing. I want authentic as well.
This might be. You're getting a little angry. This might be the juice talk.
I know what
Yeah.
Chauncey Billups is thinking during the game. Like I
Yeah,
want
he's
him to say it
fucking-
on
Chauncey
the
Billups
broadcast.
is in prison.
How much money
Why
am I
the
making
broadcast?
off of this?
Who's my other guy from the Pacers? Reggie Miller.
Miller.
I know what Reggie Miller's thinking when a certain foul is called. I want Reggie Miller to fucking say that. Am I wrong?
I don't think, I do think announcers do disagree with refereeing calls sometimes.
Right,
I
they
think you're
do.
making like they never do.
They
I
just
don't need to
can't-
hear them shit on the
Right.
referees. I can do that. People on Twitter can do that. The local call can do that.
Yeah.
If they disagree with the call, I think announcers
do voice it.
say that. But they're not going to say, this ref deserves to be fucking reamed out by his boss. What an idiot.
I'm not asking for that. I just
That's
want,
exactly what you're asking
That is
for.
what you're asking for.
No, I want them to, like, if there's an abysmal call, I literally want the commentators to be like, yeah, and to be blatantly honest, that call was abysmal. And, like, I want that to be a moment in the game of, like, we're going to clip that, post it on social. Like, that would be hilarious. That would get me more into, like, watching a regular game that I don't want to watch.
Yeah.
Like, because there's, like, emotional aspect of all of this that can also be included in the referees and just, I mean, just more emotion. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Confessionals. That okay?
Okay.
Confessionals, like you go sit. Oh, you
Noah
go
doesn't believe in a confessional.
I agree. The reality TV confessionals.
Like the announcer's talking, and like he's like being non-bi, like being
Right.
honest, and then like cuts the confessional. He's like,
It tells it. Yeah. That's my bad, guys. I
do
actually
like
did
that.
get that call wrong. No, that's good. But we appreciate everybody starting their morning with us here at Tingle & Co. LC will be back tomorrow on his way back from his vacation. And LSU football, of course, 12 days away. Week 0 is this weekend. Football has arrived. It's game week. You do have games this week. This weekend, college football begins with the first game being played.
Thursday, 5 p.m. Maine versus Towson.
That's
FanDuel
it.
will be receiving my money.
That's
for
it.
that.
That's how you do it. Make a donation to FanDuel for our friends over there. We'll not take a quick break. We're gonna close this out. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.